Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Maybe early Monday in some cases in Europe and in Asia. This is just a subscriber hangout. Just wanted to talk about how the week went in the universe of electric cars. It's been an interesting week. I don't know if you guys seen my videos yesterday and today that I've posted. As a result of all this drama that's been going on between Elon Musk, Tesla, Electric, which is a friendly publication to Tesla. So this was quite a story. And then yesterday, me and my buddy Eli of my Tesla adventure, we actually got together because we live pretty close now that I live in Sacramento, and we agreed to disagree on camera. We actually, it's funny because when that news kind of started to hit, when the Twitter back and forth between Electric's Fred, the editor of chief in chief, and Elon started going, me and Eli we kind of started talking on the phone later. Like I was literally waiting to go into an IHOP after I was some club here in Sacramento, and we were having conversation back and forth. I mean, we're obviously disagreeing, but we were like, finally I was like, you know what we should do, we should just stop talking about it right now. We should turn the camera on tomorrow and do it in front of audience, because I think it's a good example of people disagreeing and yet not like hating each other. When we have friends, not only he's a friend of a show professionally, but he is a friend, became a friend of mine personally. And I thought it was really cool for us to do this in front of the camera. We kind of dialed it down a little bit, but the video is up now, and we're getting some interesting, good comments. I guess the bigger point that I'm trying to make is that you know, it's kind of a disappointing to see this electric car community that's supposed to be united and all for green energy and adoption of electric cars to kind of fall apart into kind of you're either with Tesla or you against everything. We either love you or hate you, and I think stuff in the middle. Even if you look in the comments of that video, people were still, as much as we're promoting the open dialogue, people were still kind of like, but you're an e-tron guy, and Audi sucks, and well, and we've addressed this. Like it's kind of hard sometimes to address comments of somebody who just kind of comes in on the channel, watches for 10 seconds, and makes a comment. It's like a general statement, and you go like, dude, have you not been watching my videos for the last, I don't know, even a week? You wouldn't have that comment of that. But hey, guys, this is still, this is great hanging out with you. I mean, I know I kind of promised, well, not promised, I promised to myself that I'm not going to be making any videos over the weekend, and yet I've already made 3. But this is my favorite part. I don't really have to prepare for this because this is just fun. I see a lot of people in the chat right now. Tom Little from Ontario, Canada, Boring Revolution, Ashley Hill, one of the most active veterans, I would say, of this channel. I really appreciate it. From Australia, Brian Stone from Pennsylvania, USA Average Guy from Georgia. Let's say who else? Lyle from Utah. I mean, this is like representation of entire country in the world, really. Maybe a few people from Asia would help, but good to see all of you guys in the chat room. Colby Niels asks, how much did Tesla increase Q3 total? Well, what do you mean how much? In revenues, in total cars made? I mean, all of this was record setting, and I went over all the numbers in a video just last weekend. Bottom line, they beat all of the expectations, everyone's really expectations. Wall Street's, like mine, yours. But if you want to go over the numbers, by the way, the report is available there. It's about 3 or 4 pages. You can like literally go all over the financial stuff and their predictions and basic information that they provide there. I believe they were over 80,000 cars sold, and almost over $6 billion in revenues. But just like I said, you can just watch my video from and it was a live stream from last weekend. But definitely record-breaking quarter. And I already mentioned it to you guys before. What impressed me the most is not just the fact that they were profitable by a lot, by all the deliveries and all that stuff, but the way how Elon Musk conducted himself. I was a big critic of him for a long time this year, really, and what he has done during that earnings call. I thought it was just pretty much as perfect as it gets for the CEO. I think part of the reaction of the market and analysts is essentially his behavior and his reaction. There were a couple of questions that he didn't want to answer, and he did it so gracefully, if you will. Maybe that's not the right word, but cleverly and respectfully. And there were and what's most importantly, he stayed away from all of the predictions that he likes to make. We're gonna be at 10,000, Model 3 production in 5 months, right? Like stayed away from all of that, and I really really liked it. By the way, last time I pretty much lost my voice after this, so I got a little bit of nice tea. Got this mug in London when I was visiting from one of the friends of the show. Tea with honey. Let's see how long it's gonna last. But I have a backup plan. I have my cough drops, as you can see, just in case. Um, um, Inboard 200 says, I thought that video was going to more debating. Well, you know, we, well, what do you want us to throw punches? Like, what would you expect from the video? We both stated our points of view, respectfully so. I mean, and just in case you guys don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about the editor in chief of Electric called out Elon Musk yesterday on Twitter, and he posted an article that was a little bit out of his character because first of all, they are Tesla friendly publication. I wouldn't go as far as saying he's a Tesla fanboy, but very close to it. And his article was almost personal. He was personally upset because he found out, and this was I think one of the problems that Tesla doesn't really announce stuff like this as they probably should. But he found out that all of a sudden Tesla dropped the upgrades package for performance Model 3, just completely dropped the price, meaning like the package just now included. And Fred was saying that, hey, we for early adopters paid extra $5,000 for that. So you're kind of punishing the early adopters. And I immediately thought of I remember when I bought the very first iPhone back in 2007, and a lot of people did, and Apple dropped the price from $600 to $400 in like 2 or 3 months, and we all went, "Wait, we supported you, and now anybody who didn't and only now is jumping on the bandwagon is going to get the break, and we paid for." Now I know there's argument that hey, all of technology gets cheaper, but that's a bad argument because yeah, it gets cheaper with time, not with 2 months, right? Or in this case, it was 4 or 5 months. And by a lot, by $5,000, that's a significant portion of the price of the car, like almost 10%. So, and they went back and forth with Elon Musk, and Fred himself got a lot of flack on social media. But Elon Musk decided to refund, or offered to refund the $5,000 difference for the first adopters, and I thought that was great. I thought it was a really good thing that he did. Great reaction to it. He didn't get into it with Fred. He was pretty respectful, and he thought that was yeah, I forgot the word that he used, but he said it was reasonable. The criticism was reasonable, which I never hear from Elon Musk, right? Now my voice is already going, huh? But at the same time, obviously, I thought that they shouldn't have never been in this situation. They should be big boys and be able to plan their features, a rollout and the pricing and scheduling. Let's not forget, as they lowered that price that they by $5,000, they've also only a week ago announced that they're increasing the price of the mid-range Model 3 by $1,000 within like 5 days of releasing it, and at the same time changed their all-wheel drive package price for the fifth time in 6 months. I mean, all of this, in my opinion, let me know if you guys think differently in the chat room. To me, this just means that they literally almost don't know what they're doing. Now, Eli disagreed, and he outlined what he thinks about that, right? And he believes that innovation is something that, or at least being held to a certain price structure, or having to have a schedule for feature rollout, holds the innovation back. And I agree with him with that. But anyway, I mean, I don't know how else we could have had more of a debate. I also invited Fred on the show personally twice, just in the last 24 hours. I haven't even heard back from him. He has not been Very friendly to me, I have to say. Over the last 2 years, I've been trying to. I've met him in person one time, and yeah, it's just so. But Fred is invited; he can defend his opinion. Though I agree with him. Um, it is what it is. I think this is, and as you guys can probably see from the response in the comment section, there's a significant amount of people, number of people who really were bothered by this, even though they are not necessarily Performance 3 owners. They're getting kind of really disappointed by all the price changes. They're starting to say, well, now we're kind of scared to buy anything from Tesla, especially Model 3 related, because, well, are we going to buy something and all of a sudden it's going to get like cheaper and our cars are going to get devalued, or decrease the value, like within a few months or maybe a year of buying one. And they're I just haven't seen such negative feedback in such numbers before. I think as far as Tesla is concerned. So I think Elon needs to be very careful not to turn off a lot of people who are either potential customers who are still kind of waiting and observing all this, and first adopters, of the Model 3, which is, that's their bread and butter, literally right now. So I think he really needs to be careful. Let's see. I'm just reading through a few of your other comments. A Boring Revolution says, "Love the channel, dude. You are from Manchester, UK. Thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate it." Let's see. I'll continue reading the comments. Tesla is the only EV, says Matthew Terranova. I don't like. No, that's not the only EV. Like, not even close. Not really sure if then I understand what you're saying. In board 200, just warning, do you have any stock for Tesla? No, I don't have any Tesla stock. I don't know any stock. The only stock I guess indirectly own is my 401k plan, but I'm not in control of it, as far as like I don't pick my stocks there. I don't know. Maybe they have something in Tesla. Doubt it though. Really doubt it. I used to. I'm now part of that profits that I made, I invested when it was still in double digits. In the house where I live now in Sacramento. I was able to move to the house. That was partially, thanks to Tesla stock going up and my decision to invest relatively early in the stock. Now, I think this conversation always goes in the same route. Like, Alex, if you have any financial interest in any of the brands, how can you be, unbiased? And so I have to say, I mean, obviously, you guys don't know me personally. I mean, if you did know me personally, I would take offense to when people suggest that. Um, but here's the thing, and I've discussed this with my sponsors, current sponsors, and the sponsors that I'm talking to. Um, One thing that I don't budge on is the independence of my opinion, regardless of whose logo it is over there. Right now, it's Evanex, right? And they are Tesla. They depend on Tesla in terms of Tesla's success is their success. And but I don't. I'll allow the brands that are contributing one way or another to this channel, just like even people who donate personally, to kind of bully my opinion. The brands that I work with closely, whether they're sponsors or not, they are all welcome to send me a statement when there's some negative news going around, and I will always be happy to feature that. But my opinion is not going to change. And here's what I always mention to them. I said, listen, you're sponsoring this channel because I believe in your product, and I believe advertising your product is a service to my community. For example, for you guys to know about the Evanex and climate exchange, if you haven't already, I think it's a service to you. I think this is a services and products, and the lottery that climate exchange is running is of interest to you. And I believe in every sponsor that I'm sponsoring. Um, but the opportunity that they are taking by sponsoring my channel relies solely on you guys knowing that this is an unbiased channel, right? I mix my opinion in it, but even my opinion is pretty unbiased. I'm not behind any brand, regardless of whose logo, whose I'm advertising. As a matter of fact, I do believe in brands that I advertise, and I actually wouldn't otherwise do that. I just can't bring myself to do that, actually. Um, but if I was to push, if let's say I would get to, be sponsored by, let's say, Mercedes, and I start pushing Mercedes EQC, and kind of never talk, never bring up any negative stories or bring up any issues that Mercedes is having with their electric cars and then the Q series. Um, what good is my show? No one's gonna watch it because I think the biggest value of my show is the fact that I'm independent, and therefore whatever money Mercedes would spend with me would go to waste because no one's going to trust me for my opinion to be unbiased. So it's actually kind of a self-preserved environment where my sponsors don't want me to um, change my opinion about them simply because they're contributing to the show, because they are sponsorship that they're hoping to reach you guys through me would be a sham, and you would know that, you know. So I definitely resent any type of suggestion of that, but I know you guys don't know me personally, so it's hard for you to know, to say, hey, Alex is a credible journalist, YouTuber, influencer, how whatever the hell the name is nowadays. And it's kind of sucks that I have to defend myself against some of those comments, but it is what it is. I understand why some people might think that, or at least have that thought if they don't know me. RC Stanley says the Trump era causes divisiveness. Yeah, I mean, I think the Trump era maybe is the result of existing divisiveness. I think I mean, at least here in the United States, but I think you're observing the same thing around the world, right? With Brexit and many other elections. I mean, the Philippines are having a very divided, I think, society right now as well, and a few other countries. Um, it's unfortunate. I mean, I agree with you. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, I think this is what this channel is about: is actually having independent opinion and not being in any of the camps. So a conflict causes more click traffic. You know what? Actually, that's not really true. My most, if you, and you don't even have to take it from me. If you go and sort my videos by most views, you will see that the stories that are most popular on my channel are actually positive stories. I believe they're about Solar Roof, about the Nissan Leaf, about the Fisker car. So I think most stories that are popular on my channel are positive stories. Um, so I'm not really sure if that's true, but you're right. Generally speaking, I think conflict does make people watch a little bit more. And I don't just mean my channel. I think it's just any YouTube or television show. So I think that's just true. Find a way to do both. Well, I mean, I think if you watch my channel for a little bit, even you know that I have pretty sometimes even edgy, but definitely I have opinions. I think that's kind of part of the show, and a lot of people tell me that they watch for the news, but they stay for my opinions, even though they may not always agree with me. So yeah, I think I've had a pretty good balance so far. Um, Inboard 200 says both of y'all was professional. I thought you'd just talk more. Yeah, I mean, Eli has been on my show what 4 or 5 times now. I like hanging out with him. He's a huge Tesla fan, and we that's why we don't always agree on Elon Musk and Tesla topics. But I think that the key is that we've been always respectful of each other's opinion, and we know we're playing for the same team, right? We both want us to all of us to switch to electric cars at one point or another. So therefore, he just happened to like Tesla a little bit more than I do, and now maybe I'm moving towards Audi. At some point, I was moving towards Jaguar. I know, not as excited about the I-Pace anymore now that it's out. But that's okay. You know what I mean? Because we all have different needs. Like, my mom just bought yet another Toyota Camry. Is that a best car for her? I don't even know because she just refused to test drive like other cars. I said, "Ma, why don't you drive, maybe Nissan Maxima, a very comparable car?" And for her needs, and for her kind of peace of mind, she wants to drive the same car that she's driven for the last 2 decades, right? She trusts the brand. She doesn't want to go outside of even the model. Um, I tried explaining to her that just because it's the same brand doesn't mean it's the same even people running the Camry program. But that's her need. That's just, and I don't blame her. That's fine, and they're buying hybrids. They don't want to switch to plug-in hybrids or electric cars, and that's fine. That's their thing. I can only give them information. And if they decide that for them right now that's not the right choice, that's not the right choice. So I'm not really sure why people can respect my opinion, or just like I respect yours. If you want to put up with, Tesla's subpar things that I think are subpar, that's fine. I did that for a while too, and I was very happy at that time. But now something else is more important to me. Like I don't like spending time with my car in a shop, or I'm kind of miss the luxurious feel of the interior of the car, and that's my thing, right? Not really sure why people get all upset about it. All right, let me move on to other comments. Is Tesla really going to build 4 separate vehicles in Sparks, Nevada? Semi Model Y pickup roadster who lives in Sparks, small town. I haven't really heard that at all. I believe the Model Y will definitely be built in China for Chinese market and Shanghai. There are some, and I think I just did a video about that. I believe that Model Y will be, well, I don't believe. I hope that Model Y will be built on exactly same frame and tech as Model 3. So they might actually, it would make more sense to share the lines and only have, kind of had the whatever you put on top of that, the buddies and some of the tech and windshields and stuff like that, just to be the Model Y. So that would make sense to continue having it here at the Fremont factory. So that obviously going to get faster with less labor and more robots. I think they'll be able to achieve a higher production rate, and they'll be able to start mixing in Model Y. There's also a possibility that we'll move some of the Model Y production, or Model Y / Model 3 production, and create new lines at the Gigafactory in Nevada. That might make sense as well. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything like concrete for sure. Nigel, how are you? Welcome. You have been a fan of the show for a long time. I really appreciate your comments as usual. So good to see you here. Nigel says, what do you think the percentage profit will be on the Model 3 in the last quarter, assuming 80,000 Model 3s are sold? That's a good question. And I think right now my guess is probably as good as yours. I think on the, like, okay, so let's just think about it, right? Because we're just guessing. I think the profit margin will go a little bit higher on the higher end Model 3s, right? But I think they're also going to have a major chunk of orders for the mid-range, and I can't imagine that being over 20%. I think that would probably be lower from 15 to 20%. So I think they're still going to average out at around 20%. I think that will stay, which is still very impressive, right? If it's an overall, but for the higher end Model 3 packages and a longer range, I think we'll go to 22, 23. I wouldn't even be surprised even it's going to reach 25, right? Because they're continuing to improve it. But at the same time, I really I really think that for the mid-range, the margin will have to come down and at some point for the $35,000 version, they can get closer to 10 or 15, which I think is still fine. It's still profit, right? Let's see. I know I'm behind on this on the questions. That was Nigel's question, right? Okay. Also, Nigel said in UK, Ford engine plant closing engine making for 2 weeks, and following Jack slowed down whom they supply engines for. End of ICE beginning, and Ford need to get their finger out. Listen, Ford is behind. They're behind. I'm not really sure what else to say. It looks like they are planning a Mustang type of an electric car, but they're behind. They might consider buying Faraday Future that's falling apart, but I'm not really sure if they want to be making a $100,000 electric car, really. I'm not really sure if that's their market. RC Stanley says you can't complain about falling technology prices. What planet are you on? Well, RC, I'm not complaining about falling technology prices, and it's frustrating me that you're even asking me that because I know you've been around for a little bit, and unless you just don't watch my videos at all, I'm having a hard time figuring out how else I can go about it. Technology prices fall with time, right? And slowly. But when you produce a car and you price it, you and then you reduce the price within 3 or 4 months by 10%, 15% overnight, that's a bit harsh, and that's not something that people expect because don't forget, these are still cars. I know they're high tech cars, but these are not cell phones. People have some sort of expectations, and a lot of times the price changes are announced, right? A lot of times a year ahead, even half a year ahead. But waking up one day and saying, "Oh, the car that's been only sold for the last few months now is 10% less," even though it's exactly the same car, that is a little too much. That is just a little too harsh. And again, I if you were the one who bought the $5,000 upgrade and a day before, and then woke up and a day later everybody else now doesn't have to pay the $5,000, I think it's a tough pill to swallow. The technology prices, by the way, they don't really fall, unless you're talking about like a cell phone that gets sold brand new as the new tech comes out. But in this case, we're just talking about, I don't know if you know what the update package was. And I mean, it included the spoiler and wheels and all of that stuff. It actually included very little technology, per se. All of this was like, what was it also? Yeah, there was mainly like hardware, if you will, that was included in the package. So, I mean, I'm a little lost for words. I mean, I've explained it so many different ways at this point. Um, so yeah, I'm just kind of having a hard time to answering that question because and don't forget, I keep going to that example. I don't know if you keep not listening to it, but Apple already made that mistake. Steve Jobs had to apologize, which he didn't like to do, as you probably remember, and give the refund to people when the same thing happened with an iPhone. An iPhone is a high tech that drops in price very quickly, and yet we already have a history of this. Why repeat history that reflects poorly on your brand? So that's the planet that I'm on. But just to answer that question, I know I'm behind, but just wanted to take time to answer all the questions. Chris Bates says, honestly, if you don't need autopilot, I bet Tesla offers it up to all of those that did not take it up from a deal. At the end of quarter, it will be an easy grab, easy cash grab. Um, well, I don't know if you're just talking specifically about me. Yes, I don't care for the Tesla's autopilot right now. I had it on my last two Teslas. I rarely use it. I probably wouldn't get it if I had somehow decide that e-tron is not for me and I'm going to stick with Tesla. My next Tesla is not going to have an autopilot unless they do something amazing in the next, I don't know, 6 months. That would make me say, oh yeah, it's totally worth whatever $5,000 to $10,000 that you pay for it. And as you know, they've been charging for that's another thing that Tesla's done, right? They've been charging for that package $5,000, even though right now they can't deliver on it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a continuous story of the brand that sort of doesn't really. I know it's a fast-moving brand, but they really they're really starting to disappoint people who expect a more stability from an automaker, even as aggressive and technologically advanced as Tesla. Nigel says, "What do you think?" Okay, Pradeep says Tesla should plan out their price and options. I agree with that. I think if they lowered cost of their end, the difference should focus more research and development on improving the car. I would like heads-up display. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not really sure what else I can add. Planning would be good, and again, they can do whatever the hell they want with pricing. Just let me know. Just give us some heads up, and don't. You probably don't want to leave your most valuable customers, the customers that essentially make you go profitable, behind and where they're upset, which makes them not maybe want to buy again, and then makes everybody else who are thinking about it question their possible decisions, saying, well, if they treated those guys that badly and those guys are upset, what am I going to get from this brand, right? So I think that's the general consensus of a lot of people who've been kind of bothered by this. Um, Hector Smith says technology price cycles are different from automotive price cycles. Tesla seems to be oscillating between them. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can say that Tesla and a lot of other electric cars, and definitely the startups, right, like Byton and Faraday Future, they are kind of, something between automotive and tech. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons I really love Byton's name, right? Byton stands on bytes on wheels. That's pretty much the best way to describe what electric cars are nowadays, and Tesla and so forth. Um, Hi, Hector, all the way from Australia as well. Oh well, that was just a comment that I just read. My bad. Junior or JR says Musk will be richer than Bezos and use his money to make mankind to take mankind to Mars. I don't think he needs to be richer than Bezos. I think he just can still do it. And I wonder if he cares about it. I mean, yeah, he probably does, and it's probably a race, but I don't see how that will affect us, the common folk, the customers, right? Um, Inboard 200 says, I value your opinion, don't change. And I appreciate it. That's the thing. I don't want you to, I don't, you don't have to agree with my opinion. As long as you find some value, I think I did my job, right? Because even if you believe I'm wrong, you can still find value in that because I have caused a discussion. I have maybe caused your opinion to solidify in your head, right? So, for example, you might say, Alex, you're completely wrong. I'm behind, this whole Tesla price changes. It's okay with me. Even if I end up maybe, losing a few $1,000s, it's totally worth it for me because I want to be with this brand that's innovating. There's no one other than that. And now that I've heard your opinion, Alex, and the other side, I'm more sure than ever that I made the right choice and I feel even better about being a Tesla owner. So by disagreeing with me, I have provided the service to you to becoming even happier Tesla driver and owner. And that's okay with me. I feel like I did my job. I just wish there were more of you, people who watch my channel and don't necessarily agree with me, but still find a value with not only the news that I bring to you guys, but also sort of analysis that comes with it because I've been doing this for, almost 2 years now. I remember and I know all of these things. And I also travel now and seen quite a few things that I think almost nobody else has. Like, for example, I've been in Nanjing and watched Byton's a factory and watched how it's being done. So I think I'm one of the few people who can actually speak to what it's like building a factory in China and what are the different rules and can they do it? Is it cheaper? Does it have more red tape and stuff like that? So I feel like I bring that value as well just because I've been doing it for a while and now I get to travel as these brands bring me out to different cities and states and countries. And it's been just also fun. Um, it would be awesome if we could crowdfund the BFR. I think they're okay. I think Elon will be okay with funding for that. Um, Let me scroll down and try catching up. Nigel says, do you think the Volkswagen Group dragging their heels deliberately, even the electric highway they have to make is taking far too long? Actually, I don't think Volkswagen dragging their feet at all. I think if anything, Volkswagen their Volkswagen Group meaning Volkswagen, Audi, and Porsche. I mean, I know they also own Lamborghini and other brands, but I think they're trying to get away from the disaster and embarrassment of Dieselgate so badly that they have no choice but to be one of the leaders in innovation and pushing the electrification forward. And I think they've done a pretty good job. I can't think of any other manufacturer instead of except for Tesla um, that have so many things going on for them, and they've invested not everything voluntarily, heavily in their research and development and what now e-tron is in production now. Porsche Taycan is going to be, it looks like a huge success. They've invested heavily in that. And obviously, Volkswagen ID series is coming out in the next, 24 months as well. Let's not forget about Electrify America and Electrify Canada. pretty much completely sponsored or invested by Volkswagen Group as a part of the settlement for the Dieselgate. And that's what's going to actually, that might just be their biggest contribution. And by the way, also Volkswagen Group is one of the investors in Ionity, and that's a fast charging network growing in Europe. And those are like huge contributions because those are contributions to all of us. People who drive Teslas, people who drive other electric cars. Volkswagen Group is helping everybody by building out and investing into those networks, so charging networks. So I'm actually looking at Volkswagen Group as one of the leaders who are more serious about it. And by the way, the fact they just kicked out their CEO of, I believe it was Volkswagen Group CEO, that still was trying to stick with diesel, that really solidified it for me. Now, in no way it takes away from the disaster what the Dieselgate was. But the effect of that on them, I think, has been nothing but positive, and that's why I don't really have a problem, switching to Audi e-tron if everything goes well. Good morning, Sean from Pennsylvania. Hope you're having Eastern Pennsylvania. Hope you're having a good Sunday night. Let's see. Thank you, Matthew, for your comment. Santa's Collection, who I also believes the Patreon. By the way, guys, if you are, and let me say, just that thank you to my Patreons. You guys are, one of the reasons why I'm doing this, right? Because I just in case if you guys don't know, I have gone full-time doing this YouTube channel. I literally had to change my life for it. I lived in the Bay Area for 25 years, San Francisco Bay Area, here in California. My parents are there, my friends are there, my hockey teams and soccer teams were there. And I just got up and moved to Sacramento simply because that's the only way I could afford to do this full-time for you guys and for myself. So my funds are very limited now. I don't make my Silicon Valley salary anymore. I live off of my sponsorships, my Google ad little revenues, and from my Patreon. So you guys are essentially contributing to this channel to move forward. So I really appreciate it. I try to do as many perks as possible, which is, my Patreons get to watch me live. And all videos ahead of everybody else. I do this little segment called the Extra Mile, and that's the graphic. That's what the graphics was for right here, right? This is an extra few minutes that I kind of once I stop recording for YouTube, I go for an extra minutes to just talk about other things that I don't necessarily talk about on social media on YouTube. So kind of a more of an exclusive conversation. Obviously, everybody who sends me messages or posts on Patreon get a reply. It's much harder for me to reply now on YouTube because there are just so many comments. And now that I make 3 videos a day during the week, it's almost impossible. I tried to read all of them and just heart everybody, just saying I read it. I may not agree with it. I'll still heart it. But it's almost impossible to read all of them, but I do that on Patreon. So thank you so much for supporting me. Robert M, $5 super chat, my first super chat of the night. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That does go into my electric bill. How's that? I'll tell you exactly where your money go into. My utility bills. That's where it's going to go. I know some people go coffee. No, I don't do coffee. That would be, well, first of all, I don't do coffee. Secondly, I try not to go and spend money at Starbucks because it's a waste of money for somebody who's on the budget right now. So so that's that. Thank you so much. I know I'm a little behind. I just saw super chat to come in. I'm always get excited when you guys actually contribute with your hard earned money. It always humbles me, and I really appreciate it. Now that my living depends on that. So thank you so much. Thank you, Robert M. Let's see. Santa's Collection, who is Patreon. And by the way, patreon.com/for electric, as you can see, that's where you can join and become a Patreon. And you can join for just $1 a month, by the way. That's really all it takes. I know some people, I think George is the Patreon that contributes like $50 a month, which is insane, and I'm so humbled. He's one of my bigger, and Santa's Collection is also. So anyway, Alex, I want to plan a drive out to Sacramento with some other EV owners and come hang out with you. And Eli, we should set something up. How would you feel about that? I love that. A few people here in Sacramento reached out to me, and I ended up having lunch with some of them. I mean, mainly one-on-one. I love meeting people who are passionate about this and who are have been following my channel and just electric car fans. Totally, let's do that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be in Los Angeles at the end of November for LA Auto Show Media Days. And I know last time I was there, people got upset that I didn't really create some sort of a hangout. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you guys wanted to. So if you guys want to, so yes to that, Santa's Collection for sure. Just let me know, contact me and Eli. I'll make sure that both of us will make ourselves available and maybe we can do lunch or maybe like a quick scenic drive or something like that. Maybe we can meet at like Tesla showroom or whatever. And but there are quite a few places here that are pretty cool. Or maybe it's a supercharger location, which is at the service center, I guess. Um, but also, those of you guys who are watching me you are in Southern California and LA area, I would be more than happy to do the same when I'm there for the LA Mobility. I guess it's called the Media Days for LA Auto Show later in November. So yes to that. Chris Bates, Tesla isn't perfect, but the competitors are only there because of them. Absolutely. I agree with you. Tesla is definitely responsible for it. I always keep saying, keep forget his name, but there's this great headline for one of the videos. Why can't I think of him? But it says Jaguar I-Pace, the biggest Tesla contribution. No, oh man, I forgot about it. Forget it. But the point was like Jaguar I-Pace is a product of Tesla essentially, which is kind of true. But you're right. This goes along with that the competition is being dragged into it by Tesla. Not just by Tesla because there are laws that are environmental laws that are changing here in the United States and in other parts of the world, and that is also making manufacturers and China is very aggressive with that. So that's also making manufacturers definitely work much harder and innovate. Brian Stone says Jaguar is legit. Legit is a very big word. I Yes, they are, but I wish they would have done a little bit better of a job with iPace. Nevertheless, it's definitely a major player, and they need to get their production up too, by the way. Let's see. SpaceX package could go, says Brian Chanel, sorry for mispronouncing it. A SpaceX package could go. Dude did calculations and said Roadster could go 0 to 60 in 1.4 seconds. Let me just address this crazy 0 to 60 numbers. By the way, I see another super chat came in from Robert Glow. $10. Thank you so much. Also going to my utility bill. He says, I drive 180 to 200 miles a day for work. Wow, what do you do? Between Model 3 long range and used 2015 Model S 75D with free supercharging. What do you think would be the best for warranty and depreciation? Well, obviously you want to make sure that you still try to keep it at 90 or maybe even 80% as far as the charge limit. From what I understand, from almost day one, Tesla claims that there is no degradation of battery just because of the supercharging, and I think it's been pretty much confirmed now with all of this, ride-sharing services using it pretty much every day. So I would say make sure to kind of monitor that. It looks like you have everything, figured out, but yes, I mean, regardless of how many miles you drive, I always say, and I think there's a video coming up tomorrow morning on Monday morning. I'm talking about buying a used Model S and Model X because I think this is a really, really good time for that. I would never ever recommend driving a Tesla without a warranty at this point. The number of issues that come up, how much it costs, and how long you have to wait for it. You definitely want to make sure you have a warranty on that. Without it, you might be in for some major investment. Now I know the door handles, for example, is one of the biggest and yet many would say a ridiculous problem to have. But that until recently, that was like $1,000 to fix for a door handle, and I had 3 door handles that broke on 2 of my cars within like a year. So I'd say make sure that you buy all of the extended warranty you can. Obviously, try to keep it under the warranty, but for the supercharging, obviously enjoy the free supercharging, and just make sure that you don't charge all the way to 100%. Keep it at 90, but I would, if you can, I would even make it 80. I would even make it 80. So, but thank you so much for the super chat, Robert. And thank you for supporting the show. All right, let me go back to hey Tony, hello from Minneapolis. Tony is also one of the biggest supporters of the show. He's a Patreon. He comments all the time. This is like I feel like you guys are family. I feel like you are the people who, when I turn the camera on, right? I'm here by myself in my studio here, and I'm talking to the walls essentially. There's literally a wall in front of me right now. uh, and I have to imagine people who I'm talking to. I'm imagining you guys, right? Ashley Hill, George, Tony, you guys who have been, supporters. And I don't want to say fans, by the way. I really don't like that word because you don't have to be a fan of the show to watch me. My show, I think, is not just about me. I think it's about the excitement of this electric car industry and revolution, and the news that are coming out, and drama and triumphs and lows and highs. So I appreciate you guys very, very much, and I really appreciate all of the support and help you gave me. It's really, besides the financial support, it's also like a food for my heart, right? Every day I have to turn the camera on, whether I'm sick or not, or in the mood or not, tired or whatever. I have to get energy somewhere, and many times I find it in you guys watching me, and knowing that I can contribute and give some value to you guys. This is the fuel for here, and by fuel I mean electricity. So let's see. Let me go back. Alex, how are you, my friend? Uh, your comment is I see what your comment says. It's a small town populated mostly by industrial robots. Yes, you were talking about the comment that I read a while back about the town where Tesla might be producing Model Y. Yes, you don't need that population to be that big because mainly it's robots that are going to be working it, right? Nigel says at least the Camry is not self-charging. I don't know the technology of Camry. I'm not a big Toyota supporter right now because how behind they are on or behind, not even in the game they are in electric cars, and I think they're gambling on the wrong technology on top of that. Have you ever seen Blackbird? I'm gonna assume no because I don't really know what it is. Brian Cannell. Um, Would Jaguar have made an EV if it wasn't for Tesla? Asked Chris Bates. I don't think anybody. Well, okay. So it's a tough question, right? Because there are two things that are driving legacy manufacturers to create their own electric cars, right? One is obviously the success of Tesla, and more now than ever because now they're showing profit and showing that you cannot bitch and complain like Chevy is doing with their Bolts, saying how they can be profitable and therefore they don't want to sell them anymore. And so that's one thing, obviously. But at the same time, there are a lot of regulations and laws that are coming out, and here in the United States for sure, California in particular, the state that I live in, but also in Canada, also in Europe, and just like I said, China is really, really big. Their regulations, environmental regulations, are really, really getting strict on any type of fossil fuels. I believe starting next year, you have to, if you're a manufacturer who wants to deal, who wants to sell cars there, I believe 10% of them have to be electric powertrain cars. That's pretty aggressive. I'm just thinking, is it? Yeah, I think it's 2019 is when that's happening. So that's very aggressive. So those are also regulations that are dragging the entire industry into it, and not just Tesla. Some countries are talking about banning gas car sales altogether by 2030, 2035, and 2040. Some are more aggressive than others. Also, yeah, but so I think it's maybe like 70-30 if I would have to guess. 70% Tesla, 30% regulations or laws that are being passed all over the world right now. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Definitely Jaguar I-Pace is a product of Tesla, if you will. Oh, let's see. Nigel. Nigel says, Oh, okay. I wasn't really sure what you were saying. Agree. Tesla fanboy, Volkswagen fanboy, GM fanboy. Objective opinion more important. Elon has to be held up to the same scrutiny that Volkswagen Group, for example. And I agree. And it's just kind of tough that sometimes when I talk about Elon and I criticize them, I rarely don't mention the fact that he's my hero. I think he's one of the most important people in the world and definitely the leader of this movement. And that's why I get so upset with him when he does something that, essentially drags us down or puts the negative connotation on this whole movement, right? Because, I mean, if you even watch like entertainment shows, late night shows or whatever, when they used to make a joke about Elon Musk, he would be like a superhero that launches people to Mars and makes this amazing cars. Now, when they talk about him, it's like a crazy guy who says weird stuff on Twitter, right? Like, and that's only like a year difference. So as you can see, that overall perception of kind of a mainstream people and people in general has changed towards him. And that's why I get so upset when he um, furthers that. And I would like that to change back when everybody, thought of him as a hero and, hey, Tesla's is the future, rather than, Tesla is that guy who gets high on some DJ's radio show and then curses on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate, but yeah, I think Elon definitely needs to be upheld to just as high of a standard as everybody else. I think sometimes people overdo it. Like, for example, this FBI investigations, I think it's BS. I think they are going after something that they really shouldn't be able to prove in general, because how do you, and if they think they can, then like every other CEO should be investigated for making predictions or promises that they can't keep. That's just how stock market works and corporate America works, I think. Um, let's see. U.S. average guy says, Alex, my local Chevy dealer, said that the $7,500 tax credit cannot be used to lease a Bolt, only for purchase. That seems to conflict with an earlier video of yours. Can you talk about it? Yes. The $7,500 credit only applies to purchasers. So when you buy a car, whether you just pay cash for it or you finance, you will get it as a tax refund on your, or at least added to your tax refund or subtracted to your tax payment on your taxes here in the United States. Now, the way you get that when you lease the car, that tax credit goes to your leasing bank, essentially. I mean, there are some bureaucratic, but generally speaking. So you might not even qualify for a $7,500 tax credit, because let's say if you didn't pay $7,500 worth of taxes, you're not going to get it back, right? You're only getting your own money back. It's not someone else's money like a lot of people think. But if you're leasing it, then it's the bank that's getting that credit. Again, let's just generally speaking say that for simplicity of the argument, and they pass that through to you. Does that make sense? I hope I answer your question. So yes, you're not getting it, but you're getting that passed to you from the bank. So let me know if that made sense. But that's to clarify that. Brian Canal, let me know if I'm pronouncing your last name. Maybe I'll just say Brian. Brian says, do you agree Biden and Lucid Air and Faraday Future are closest to Tesla and the EP9? Okay, maybe I'm losing at the end. Okay, so first of all, Faraday Future, I think that they're done. I think now that they've now had two major issues, they kept their CEO, who looks like the source of all of their trouble. Now their current Evergrande investor now has a dispute with them, and they obviously don't want to invest anymore. They already looks like they're laying off workers, they're cutting their salary, or they already cut their salary, and yet they're still keeping this guy. I think they're done. I mean, unless some other company buys them, kicks this guy out of there, and revamps it, I think it's going to be a tough go. And buying Faraday Future is even not that attractive to companies like Toyota, Honda, Ford, and so forth, because those companies are not looking to make a luxury $100,000 SUV electric car. They would rather compete with, obviously, with the Nissan Leaf and Kia Niro EV and others. So that I don't see why they would even purchase them. But as long as that guy in charge, and it seems like he is going to, and now there's two failed attempts. I think they're done. So I'm gonna kick Faraday Future out of that conversation. Now, Lucid Air wasn't even part of that conversation either until recently when Saudi Arabia National Investment Fund invested what, $1 billion into them, and they're now coming alive. And by the way, I think Lucid Air is the most luxurious electric car that I've ever seen and been in. So, are they closest to Tesla? No. Byton, I mean, I love Byton. You guys know that I'm not hiding it. I love Byton. I have a great relationship with them. I've covered them all over the world at this point. And I'm definitely on a reservation holder for the SUV, but I actually would probably rather get the four door. It's just it's coming out later after the M Byte, so I'll probably get the SUV, which is amazing. Nobody has seen the interior of the four door yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be very close with that amazing screen up front as well. So yeah, no, I don't think those startups are close to Tesla. I think it's legacy manufacturers are closer to Tesla. I think Audi e-tron in Audi e-tron GT that's going to be revealed in about a month at the LA Auto Show, and that's where I'm going to be covering it. I think they are closer, and being as a part of a Volkswagen Group, obviously that they're getting sort of a help from all of their branches, right? The Porsche Taycan that has amazing technology. It looks like part of it is going to be borrowed, right, for Volkswagen and Audi cars. And they're all sharing that technology because part of the same umbrella company, Volkswagen Group. I think they're the ones, plus they have a lot of money, obviously. They're the ones that I think is definitely a bigger competition to Tesla than anybody else. So if anything, I'm going to name Volkswagen Group as the biggest competition right now. All right, Hyundai is doing well as well, yes, but let's see what they do with Kona, right? Looks like Kona Electric is an amazing car for an amazing price. It's available. It should be available on much a better basis in terms of stupid word I guess I used, but let's see. So far, Hyundai has not been impressive as far as making their electric car Ioniq available or putting that much effort into it. I hope it's different with Kona Electric. So yeah, let's see how they do. I'm definitely rooting for them as well as their sister company and their sister car, I guess, Kia Niro EV, or they call it e-Niro. So I'm definitely rooting for them. Yes, Tesla did come before Elon. I don't think people know that Elon is not a founder. He joined company later on, and I believe the original founders, a couple of them died in a plane crash in Palo Alto in the very early days, I think before Roadster was even released, or maybe shortly after that. But Elon came from after that and kind of made his way to the top of the company, which I'm sure now everyone is very happy about. But yes, I don't think people know that Elon is not a founder of Tesla. Boring Revolution asked me, do you like the idea of the boring company? Absolutely, I do. I think this is genius. I'm surprised that no one else did that. I mean, or even thought of it. Well, I'm sure people thought of it, but actually did. But yeah, if you want to fight traffic, especially in LA or other larger cities, and obviously we cannot fly drones that would be safe, definitely for a while. Tunnels is the way to go. So absolutely love the idea. Love the idea. Brian says BMW, Nissan, Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, possibly many more are going to be electric only. It's going to be a while, guys. It's going to be a while. At least a decade. At least a decade, I would say. So not anytime soon. I think Tesla and any other startup, all electric startup that makes it like Byton will only be like the only all electric companies for a while. Legacy manufacturers are probably not going to switch. I mean, I know what is it, Volvo? I think they have a pretty aggressive plan to electrify their fleet by 2025. But by that, of course, they mean that there will be plug-in hybrids and all electric cars. There won't be like gas-only cars. But the plug-in hybrids will still be a good chunk of their fleet. So that's where we stand with that. So Tesla, Byton, and others will be essentially startup companies are going to be the only ones that are going to be all electric only. Let's see. Brian says, do you think the Ford? I forget. Okay, do you think the Ford? I forget the other, but they're going to help make electric cars for Ford. I'm not really sure if I understand, but I'm not sure why people bringing out Ford a lot. Um, I think they're very much behind. It looks like there was news what I reported a couple of months ago when they are trying to do something all electric, but they're behind. And they're behind. Until I see something real, they'll be in the same doghouse for me as at least as Honda and Toyota. Um, Justin says that he saw Bjorn's tour of the e-tron. Looks real nice. I keep telling you guys, absolutely. You know what? I did watch Bjorn's video about e-tron. I'm not a big Bjorn viewer. Just not my cup of tea. But I did watch that video and I thought it was very informative. There were a couple of features I missed. For example, the fact that the buckles on the back seat actually light up. There's a little kind of a border that lights up for the buckle so you can see where it is. You know how you get into the back seat of like an Uber or whatever, and it's dark and you can never find where you plug in your seat belt until you're pretty much there at your destination. Well, that's very nice. And another thing is that the 3D imaging um, of the car, because they take the cameras that around, and I know like Nissan and Infiniti would have like a flat bird's eye view of the car, which is cool. But they kind of went one step further, and they now you can see literally a 3D car with the surroundings based on what their cameras are seeing, and you see it in 3D. It's really really awesome. So yes, Bjorn's video about the car was actually pretty good, and I did miss some of the really cool features that he pointed out. So that was a great video by him. Uh, so yes, and only proves my point that I think e-tron is going to be that luxury all-electric car that I would like, at least at very least, as far as bringing the luxury interior back into my life. So it's not pronounced Shanghai. Shanghai. Well, first of all, how do you know? Neither one of us are Chinese or speak Chinese, right? But I think it's pronounced Shanghai. Shanghai? I don't know. Because it's a Chinese word. This is where you can't get me as English as a second language. I think my accent is just as good as yours, right? But okay. Robert Go. I think I mispronounced your last name before. Sorry about that, Robert. I need some help. I'm a real estate appraiser and I drive. Oh, you just asked this question before you super chatted. Okay, I answered that. Hopefully it made sense. I know I'm behind, but I'm scrolling. Tesla hands down has the best electric car out there, says Brian, and I absolutely agree. And yet with that, I'm still going to probably leave the brand because it's not just about the car for me. I think the biggest value of the car is actually the infrastructure with the superchargers for a lot of people. I solved that problem myself by just getting a plug-in hybrid, which is a Volt, and I got a lot of flack for it, but I stand by my decision. I think, and I have changed my mind about plug-in hybrids. At first, I was very much like, hey, all electric or nothing. I have changed my opinion as I educated myself more and got myself more familiar with the community. It looks like the community does, a lot of people in the community that are not rich enough or even like rich to afford $100,000 Teslas or even $60,000 Teslas, and people who don't have means of installing a charger where they live, and they just maybe don't want to be part of this revolution thing and guinea pig thing. They just want an electric car and just go on with their lives. They prefer plug-in hybrids. There are crappy plug-in hybrids and there are good plug-in hybrids, and I think Chevy Volt is one of the best ones, if not the best one. Definitely the best one I've personally experienced for sure. But that way, for daily drive, with 50-mile range, 55-mile range, it's more than enough to drive it as an electric. At the same time, you never have range anxiety. You can take road trips without waiting for fast charging or worrying about that. And it kind of gets you in the understanding and in the mode of, hey, I drive an electric car that has a backup plan, right? And when the time comes for $20, $30, $40,000, well, I should say $40, $30, $20,000 electric cars with a decent range, with the infrastructure, those people who have been driving plug-in hybrids all along will easily make the jump to the all electric cars, and therefore furthering the whole electric car revolution, as I call it, even further. So I made a turnaround on plug-in hybrids, and I'm a proud owner now. So that's that. But yes, Tesla is hands down the best electric car maker by far right now. Though again, I think Audi e-tron is relatively close in many ways. Um, Robert says, I'm worried about driving the car into the ground and losing my butt on depreciation. Thoughts? Well, I mean, if you drive a lot of miles, you're going to have your car depreciated a lot, except for, Teslas don't appreciate as fast as others, depending what packages you have, depending whether or not you have free supercharging for life. But obviously, you're going to do that. You should save a lot on maintenance, and you should save a lot of cost of fuel, right? So I think if you drive a lot and you have this free supercharging, you already made a great decision for yourself. All right, let me take another sip of this tea with honey. Have you seen Honda EV? You mean plug-in hybrid? Asking Brian. I've seen Clarity. Is it? I've seen it. I decided against it. I just not behind Honda right now in general. Good plug-in hybrid, but I don't want to buy from Honda. They need to make a bigger case for me than just that. Um, let's see. YXK, what do you think of the $5,000 price drop on the Model 3 Performance? YXK, did you just I just made two videos, not one, two videos yesterday. I mean, one was posted earlier this morning with my friend Eli, who is the founder of my Tesla Adventure Club, who does not disagree with me on my opinion on this. And we had a good, healthy debate on camera, so you can see that. This is my morning video from today. And the video that I posted yesterday was my opinion, my sole opinion about this. So please check it out. I don't like it. I don't like it how it was done. I don't like they did it. I don't like how they handle it. And I don't like the fact that they had to be called out to correct the problem. But I do like the fact that Elon did reply and did make things right at the end of the day. This is not the only price change that they've had. I've been pretty much against all of them. Every time they've changed pricing, like they've raised the base model of Model S higher just to make room for the Model 3. They've raised the price of now even more of the Model S, so it's not as it's just a more expensive car. I don't like that they raised the price by even $1,000 for the mid-range only a few days after announcing the original $45,000 price. I don't like the fact that they changed the all-wheel drive package price for the fifth time in half a year. So yeah, I don't like all of that. I think it's making people uneasy. I think it's making a lot of people who have already purchased their cars uneasy about the value. I think they really need to stop and kind of start being transparent about what the plans are, and definitely kind of figure out their pricing before they roll it out. Um, Robert M says, why would Tesla trust China with their software to build their cars? What happens if Tesla ends up moving to China and closes in the US in the future? I don't even understand what you're suggesting here. I mean, they are building a factory in China. It's a solely owned factory. So it's not unlike all other manufacturers that had to kind of do a joint venture and share their secrets. This is solely owned. Tesla will keep all of their secrets and all of their patents and all of that stuff. I don't know why any manufacturer would exclusively move to China. You know, Tesla has 3 factories here in the United States, and it's working for them just fine. It's even sillier now when we don't know what the tariffs are going to be on cars imported back from China to Europe or to the United States. So that would be even sillier thing to do now. So I don't think it's going to happen. A Boring Revolution asks, do you think the Tesla semi-truck will be on the road in 12 months? 12 months, I mean, I know they're promising it by 2020, but no, I don't think so. I think we're still about 18 to 24 months away. I think that's where we're at. I think, the technology that they're promising there may just not even be there. I think they're projecting that that's where they're going to be with it, because 500-mile range, that's insane for a semi-truck. But again, this is just my guess. Who knows? I would have told you that they would not be making 20% margin a profit in Q3 of this year if you would have asked me in the beginning of the year, right? But I would say 18 months probably would be more reasonable as far as expectations are concerned. You know. All right, let me scroll down. Santa's Collection says, "You're right, Alex. It's wrong what Tesla did, and I'm a fanboy. However, Elon offering a refund was correct and shows a great character." So, Santa's Collection, I hate to tell you this. You're not a fanboy. Fanboy is somebody who blindly believes that everything Tesla, everything Elon. Meaning, funny that my channel used to be called Everything Tesla before it was called E for Electric. But so a Tesla fanboy would never agree saying, well, that was wrong. Nothing that Tesla does is wrong. Nothing Elon Musk does is wrong. That's what a Tesla fanboy is. You're a Tesla fan, and that's what you are, which is awesome. But when we say fanboy, that usually means kind of a blind love, which also is great, right? I mean, that's awesome for a brand to have people who are blindly support everything they do. I'm a recovering fanboy myself. When I got my Tesla in 2012, for the next 2 or 3 years, oh my God, I did everything 100% behind Tesla. Now, I think at that time I was right because Tesla and Elon Musk, they weren't doing anything wrong uh, as far as I'm concerned. So I was behind that until I started seeing some things that I didn't like at first, and more, and then I saw this change in Elon, and then I kind of started making my way out of there. But you are a Tesla fan, I think. Um, Achilles Yanes says hello from Chile. That's awesome that you're watching me from Chile. Sorry, the revolution is not reaching you there yet, but I'm sure in time, unless you want to come here and enjoy it here. How's the Volt going? Says Ashley Hill. My Volt is awesome. Now I do use it as a commuter car when I go to San Francisco in the Bay Areas. That's pretty much all I'm using it for right now. But I love it, man. I love it, and there's some features inside that Tesla doesn't have that I enjoy every time I'm in there. First of all, obviously the blind spot alert, where you just see the orange light in my mirror when there's someone, or red light in the mirror when someone's in my blind spot. That's awesome. I always wanted that. The ride is really smooth and quiet, smooth and quieter than my Model S 2015. And you can actually add to regenerative braking by having, like here's your wheel, there's a pedal behind it. Like in many cars, it's a gear shifter almost when you put it in the manual. Well, this gear shifter knob, or whatever you want to call it, button, when you push it towards you, it actually adds to regenerative braking, and car brakes and generates more energy. Love that feature. And a few others. I like the interface, and so no, so far so really, really good. And I got to tell you, I don't think I've seen or heard of a a Chevy Volt owner who did not like love their Volt. Seriously, like I think the customer satisfaction for Volt is like much higher than any other car I've seen, including Tesla. So yeah, so I'm one of the I love it. Um, YXK says, why is autopilot not worth it? Well, it depends when you bought it, right? Um, it's not worth it because it's not an autopilot the way I think of it. When I bought my autopilot, you could actually let it drive on the freeway on its own, and you didn't really have to touch the wheel, and it was kind of doing its thing. But after that, once they implemented it, saying, well, okay, it's going to drive itself as long as you're pretty much emulating the driving yourself by holding the wheel. And then I'm wondering, well, what's the point of the auto? If I'm already doing this, why do I need an autopilot? So that's one. Two, the progress that they've made has been disappointing. Well, I have 1.0, so there is no progress made on my. There will never be progress on 1.0. They've updated to 2.0, 2.5, and so forth, but because they decided not to use the mobile eye, now Intel software for autopilot, they started over, and it wasn't until maybe half a year ago when they finally caught up to the 1.0 feature. So all this time, 2.0, 2.5 software wasn't even as good as 1.0 software. There was a lawsuit that Tesla had to settle when customers sued them for once again offering a feature that they weren't delivering on. They didn't settle for much, but they settled. So that's a win for people who didn't like that, what they've done with their pricing and their features. But other than that, I do use it for parking once in a while, and I use it for some very little as well. But as far as actually driving, like, yeah, it's just I don't see how it's worth it. Some people use it when they're in traffic. If they're in traffic a lot and like they hold the steering wheel where like they're top of their knee, and they can still kind of maybe pay more attention to their something else that they're doing. Not that I'm advocating for that, then it might be worth it. But for me, just as far as practicality, not only has gone down for me, it has never even went back up or improved beyond that. So that's why I won't be getting an autopilot unless it's a true autopilot where at least on a highway I can let the wheel go, maybe check my email or whatever, but trust that the car is going to actually do their job. Then that's not the case. Again, my opinion, my life. This is what's working or not working for me. There are plenty of people who will disagree, and kudos to them. This feature is worth it for them, and therefore they're paying for it, right? If it's worth it, they're paying for it, then it's fine. But that's just my opinion, okay? Not preaching at all. Could Tesla add blind spot warning to the side mirrors of the Model 3? Not as an over-the-air upgrade. I mean, as a matter of fact, they just did this whole version 9 where they tried to emulate that by, I guess, highlighting the lanes in the display in front of you in red. But I don't like that either. I mean, I need a bigger warning where I don't even have to take my eyes off the road to see it. So if anything, I would have loved to see a bigger indicator somewhere on my display in front of me, and not just a lane which I won't be able to see unless I look down. So, and if I'm looking somewhere else already, then I might as well look at my mirror on my own. So that's not that is the best way to check the blind spot, but I'm just saying I would like it not like take my eyes off the road like in my Volt. I can be looking on the car in front of me and I can see my mirrors on the left and right, yellow or red, and I don't even have to turn my head. I don't think they can do that because how would you do that? I think they need to start putting lights in there so they can add it in the future, putting the hardware. I mean, the car has amazing hardware all around, except for the basic stuff that like Toyota Corolla, I think at this point has. I don't get that part. I really don't get that part, and I miss that part and many other. I don't want to have luxury features, but like standard features that a lot of people come with, a lot of other cars come with. So yeah, that's been a problem. But no, you can't do that. You can't update it. Um, Hi from the country of Volkswagen and Mercedes, Christopher R. Obviously in Germany. Um, Clash Library. Wow, am I really that behind? Wow, okay. I think I'm like half an hour behind in the comments, but let me hurry up. Clash Library, do you think Volkswagen will cooperate with Apple for autonomous EVs as Apple use their cars in autopilot development? I have no knowledge of that. This is even the first time I'm hearing Volkswagen and Apple in one sentence. So I'm sorry, I don't know. Renault got 50 kilowatt hour Zoe in pipeline for mid next year, 200 miles. But would love Tesla, but big car for me and our roads, family car. Renault Zoe, I haven't heard much about it lately, but they're definitely one of the most popular cars. And the fact that they're upping their range to 200 miles, which I think is exactly what everybody kind of needs, is great news. Robert M. Alex, what problems did you have with your Model S? Gee, how much time do you have? I had 3. I'm on my 3rd one. And I'm telling you, we will be here for a while. Obviously, problems were different, and I was more than willing to forgive them back in 2012, 2013, when I knew it was one of the earlier cars, and I was a guinea pig. But so my Model S, let's just talk about my current one, right? Door handle replaced, and I think 1 or 2. I believe it had the motor replaced. I had to go back 5 times for the brake problems, for the rotors problems, and I'm not even sure if that's fixed. For now, it is. My monitor had to be switched because it had that yellow border around it that a lot of people have. And these are just the ones that I'm kind of thinking about off the top of my head. The little door that just opens up at will after I get into the car, the charging port, little door charging port. I mean, I can go on and on and on. It's just, and this is just this particular car. But over the last 6 years now, quite a few other ones with other cars that I had. Let's see. How's the Volt going? Love the first generation before we came out about it. I mean, I have a second generation, and just like I said, absolutely love it. Did you see Bjorn Audi e-tron first impression? Yes, I did. We already talked about that. Alex, when do you believe Tesla will start to operate in South America? Not anytime soon. If anything, I like a new market that I see them expanding would be India, just because of population, and I think that country is starting to really build up infrastructure, and they have more money now with high tech companies bringing more money there. But in South America, I just don't. You guys definitely don't have the infrastructure or a big plan for it. Again, all of these cars are expensive, so there's not enough people who make enough money to be able to afford it. That's one of the issues in India right now. So your better bet is to come here to the United States or Europe or whatever, or maybe even China. Um, do you know Bill Louis asks, do you know the rollout date for all the solar roof designs? Oh, gee. I just made a video a few days ago about how there's been delays with a solar roof, and Elon says that they're going to start ramping it up next year. I mean, as part of the referral program, I believe I'm supposed to get like one of those tokens where I can go in front of a lot of other people. I haven't even been contacted about that. I haven't even got my Powerwall, to be honest with you. So no, I don't know what's happening with that at all. Um, you could do an interview with the three Volkswagen jailbirds. Yeah, I would love to. Um, let's see. Hi, Farin. How are you? Cambodia. Oh, vacationing in Cambodia. Nice. Hope you're having a good time. Hope the weather is good there. Um, Dave Vale says, "Hey, glad to see another live Q&A. Love to hear your opinions. As an imported 200 cent, don't change. I appreciate it. I'm really enjoying this. I'm doing a better job on my voice not giving out. I think I've been on the air for 1 hour and 20 minutes, and I still think I'm okay. I probably have a little bit more in me. And I'm planning on doing this every Sunday now. I'm still thinking about time. Like today was 5 p.m. Pacific time, but I might. We'll see. But I'm definitely. I love doing this, guys. Just so you know. So I'm definitely gonna continue doing this on Sundays at the very least. But if you want to watch me live every day, feel free to support me on Patreon at patreon.com/e4electric. The link is in the description of this video. By the way, guys, while you're still, this reminded me right here. See those graphics? If you haven't yet, just hit the thumbs up on this video or down. And either way, it's engagement. YouTube will count this as engagement. I would appreciate it. A Boring Revolution says, are you aware of the Unity is building its car factory in the UK? Yes, I just got their press release, and we've been talking a little bit here and there, but there has to be some bigger news for me to be able to cover it. Clash Library says, do you think Volkswagen will cooperate with Apple? Okay, so that's another question about that. I, again, don't know much about it. Imports, onboard 200. I just got it. Wow, what an idiot. I've been onboard 200. What is wrong with me? All right. I follow you since you posted the video of should you lease or buy or something like that I met you in person. Thank you for providing a different view compared to other fanboy Tesla YouTubers. I appreciate it. I mean, you guys who supported me in the very beginning is the reason I even kept going, right? Only now I'm able to, make enough money, just enough to be able to live here in Sacramento. Obviously, all that time I was running on hope and dreams and support. So I really appreciate that. Nigel says both Shell and I'm assuming you meant BP have bought over charging companies, but nothing much added yet to the infrastructure. Well, when large companies acquire other companies, it takes a while, but I believe those companies just keep going as independent entities right now, so that's not really rolling back any of that progress. He continues, says Tesla is the same time frame have added hundreds of chargers. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, no, those companies continue going with whatever plan they have. And I think Shell started rolling out, but don't forget, those are big companies, slow decisions, so I don't expect them to roll things out fast. I mean, they obviously bought them just to make sure that they got their pause on a newer industry. They're probably still deciding what they're gonna do with it. So yeah. Um, about your multiple videos a day, says Sean, the content is nice, but it feels like spamming us a little. I personally prefer one rather than many. Actually, I thought is a better service to you guys. It's much harder for me to make 3 videos a day other than one. But here's the thing. Each of them now is on a certain topic. So when you see the notification, you can say, "Oh, I'm interested in this topic," and you can watch it. But if you're not interested in the topic, you just slide left and it disappears. So and that way you kind of know what's going on, but you don't watch the stuff that you necessarily don't want to watch like you would if you were watching a video and you have to get through a story you might not care about to get to the story you do. So I thought it was actually a service to you guys to do that. So I'm sorry if it feels like spam, but just like I said, you can always swipe left and that's it. Um, Nigel says my daughter worked for Starbucks, crap coffee, even when I got it free. That's my comment about Starbucks. You know what I like at Starbucks, which I do. Actually, I was there earlier today. I have to admit, hot chocolate. One of the best hot chocolates you can ever taste. At least I've tasted as far as commercial. Love their hot chocolate. I just don't drink coffee at all. A boring revolution says, do they have a Patreon-like app that allows payments in Bitcoin or ETH or XRP? Um, no, I mean I'm on Patreon and you can pay I think by PayPal or credit card there, but you can also pay or donate, contribute here during my live shows through Super Chat, and I think that goes through either Google Wallet or credit card, so you can do that. Let's see. Clash Library says, by the way, I was looking your Patreon, but I saw you ban my other account from commenting criticism to some of your videos, says Clash Library. The only time I ban people from commenting if the comment was either trolling or just flat out insulting, or it has to be something like, inappropriate. So I welcome other people's opinion. I'm surprised you haven't really noticed, but I welcome everyone's opinion. It just has to be respectful. It can be trolling. So if you're banned, let me know. I mean, email me. I can unban you if that's true. Because I mean, I don't know. When I ban people, it's usually after a pretty nasty comment or, So let me know. I will unban you. But again, as long as you're respectful and not trolling then we're good. iPace looks classy. I love the way iPace looks. I just don't like it inside. I'm gonna scroll through a few comments just to catch up. Sorry, guys. I missed the E4Electric theme song. Really? Because some people really didn't like it, and the reason I don't do it anymore is because I just wanted videos to be shorter, But just for you, Taking over the world, electrifying the world, E4Electric. There you go. How about that? I like the graphics and I like the music. This was custom made by an artist that I found online, and I thought she did a great job. And that's the version we went to. I know I can't please everybody because everybody has their own different sense of what good music is, but it's only 5 seconds anyway. So when people complain about it, I was like, listen, it's only 5 seconds. It's not a horrible, So, but okay. Tony says, loving the fact that your channel has grown and continues to grow. Great work. Yes, it has been growing. Not as much as I would have loved to, but I also know that, the channels that have grown the most this and the past year are mainly Tesla related channels because that's just a hot topic right now, right? Tesla is by far the best electric car company, by far the most exciting. It's got a celebrity CEO. And those of us who are just kind of trying to cover everything else and also cover Tesla fairly, which means criticizing it a lot lately, we are not doing as well. And that's okay with me because I think my audience, maybe a smaller audience, But that's the exact audience that I want. People who are open to unbiased opinion, people who are open to constructive criticism, and people who are not necessarily want to buy a Tesla, are open to other cars, including plug-in hybrids. So I'm okay with having a smaller audience. I know the time for this channel will come maybe in another year or two when the other manufacturers will be making cars that are just as good as Tesla, and that's fine. I made peace with it a while back. But yes, growing is good. I think I'm just about to hit 25,000 subscribers in the next 2 or 3 weeks. That's something to celebrate. Achilles Yanis says, Alex, when do you think Tesla will start operating? Oh, I already read that one. Oh, you just repeated it. Sorry, guys. I know the reason, like, I'm behind on all these comments because I'm trying to answer and more coming in. I'm gonna have to skip a few, so I'm sorry if I'm skipping some of yours, but I also see you guys talking to each other, so that's awesome. Let's see. RC Stanley says Elon wants to build housing near Gigafactory 1 and Spark so workers can walk to work, but county codes limit them to industrial only. Do you think Elon can get the political push allowing him to build? It depends why that area is zoned for industrial only. If it's just because, or they never thought about it, then yeah, obviously, going and working with a state, or in this case, usually it's a city council and a city planning department, makes sense. But if they don't want to build houses there because there's maybe some issues with air or radiation or water supplies or something like that, then no, I don't think that should be pushed forward, right? So I just don't know what the details there are. Nigel says, connection between you and Elon hair. You cut hair, he miraculously grew his hair back. Wonder of science. I don't cut hair. It's true I used to own a hair salon in San Jose, California for 5 years, but I never cut hair. As a matter of fact, I had it while I still had my full-time job, so I managed it. I love being around it. I love being there on weekends, but I don't know how to do hair. I know a lot about hair now and nails, but I don't do hair. Elon never inhaled. That's fine. And I think it's just the visual that a lot of people found cool, but a lot of investors and business people found worrying. I don't think that was a well thought through appearance for Elon. And really, inhaling or not inhaling, it's about making good or bad decisions rather than whether or not he's really good, was high for a few hours. Nobody cares about that. Sean Henry says, recently had a chance to drive an I-Pace on a closed course. It looks like everyone's got to drive an I-Pace except for me. I haven't even, well, I've seen one in person, but I don't know. Jaguar hasn't really reached out to me that much. They said, we'll send you one for a week, and then they stopped talking to me. They've been very odd with me about their I-Pace, but not a big fan right now. So anyways, so I don't really know if it makes a big difference, but go on. The pickup wasn't very impressive, and I wasn't particularly fond of the interior. The handling, however, was superb. Almost no body roll. The car is beautiful on the outside. The pictures that I've seen of interior and videos do not impress me as much as I hope they would. And it does look like the tech, especially electric powertrain tech, is disappointing to those people who have reviewed the cars. As a matter of fact, if we're going to go back to Bjorn's video about e-tron, he said that e-tron is much better than I-Pace. It looks like he had a lot of time with an I-Pace, and I'm assuming Jaguar was making sure that he does spend a lot of time with it, and he's still not a fan. This probably tells you something about the car, but I do think it's a good electric car. I'm going to tell you that it's a good electric car. It's just for that price, I'm not willing to get it, and I would rather go with something more luxurious like e-tron or maybe EQC, and maybe wait for an extra time for that. And I'm also not impressed with their production ramp up. But good for you, Sean. I mean, and everybody else who has driven one except for me at this point. What is the non-Tesla charging speed of Model 3? What do you mean non-Tesla charging speed? I don't get that. Nigel, let me know. Jack looks nice inside. Appeals to a lot of ICE car buyers, but price is obscene. It's kind of what I was trying to say. 10 trend, is there, hey, welcome back. Is there any way to make a good enough EV under 30,000 USD? There is one already if you count in incentives. Well, actually, no, if you don't count incentives. Nissan Leaf, I would recommend that you wait just for a few more months, because they're switching to LG Chem battery that will have an active cooling system. But for under $30,000, which is their stripped out base model, and then add incentives on top of that, which can technically bring it to 20,000, under 20,000 by $5 US dollars. That's your answer right there. And Kia Niro EV and Hyundai Kona EV are also, after the incentives, will be under 30,000. Nigel says Zoe secondhand market starting to take effect, in a good way or in a bad way, Nigel. Let's see. US Average Guy says, I argued that exact point to Chevy about the leasing company getting the credit and argued the leasing payment should reflect that, but they said I was wrong. I will take it to other dealers. Yeah, are you saying they haven't given you $7,500 discount period? Because when I was buying a Volt, even though I believe that one doesn't qualify, they still ended up giving me, I think, $7,400 discount on that. But if they're not giving it you the Volt, then forget that. That just doesn't sound right. That's not how it works. Nigel makes a good point. ICE companies cannot afford to change quickly. Of course, they have business plans. They have a customer base. They have commitments and they have a lot of stuff. But at the same time, they do need to understand and realize, and some of them do, some of them don't, that the world is changing and you have to catch up. Let's see. Is Fisker still around? Robert, I have a bunch of videos, including 2 interviews with Henrik Fisker, exclusive interviews. He has relaunched the company. They are working on a $145,000, I believe, version of their 4-door sedan. They're also working on an autonomous vehicle, kind of a bus, I guess you would say. I forget its name right now, escapes my mind. But he's been pretty active on social media. If you follow them, like on Facebook or Instagram, he does a lot of stuff. I personally have seen their prototype in Vegas in January. It looks like he's also trying to be the first one to market with solid state batteries. Obviously, it will be produced in small numbers. I think only a few thousand units at first, and with a high price. But they're still around, and I think they'll definitely make it. They're making some good progress for sure. So keep your eye on it. But I will definitely be reporting on them on this channel. We have good working relationship with them. He personally has been nothing but nice to me and very honest. If you watch my interview from Vegas, I've asked him some tough questions, and he had good answers. I wasn't holding back. So check it out. It's in my library. Let's see. Tony says underground tunneling has historically been super expensive. Elon has figured out a way to do it cheaper and invent dirt bricks as a result, which can be utilized in many other ways. I don't know much about it, but it sounds like drilling holes underground shouldn't really be that complicated. I think rats can figure that out, and squirrels. So I think we should be at least on that level. And making bricks out of dirt, come on, great invention. But the only reason it wasn't invented earlier is because nobody really tried hard. So I'm gonna just go ahead and make that big statement right there. How much is the Bolt, Nigel? I don't know. It depends on the country and the incentives. Team XN5 says hopefully the Biden comes out soon. Well, they're on a timetable. They're going to come out in, I believe, in the end of next. They're coming out with their first SUV in China, and it's going to be pretty soon. They're going to be here by 2020. I can't wait to get mine. Tony says Bjorn is hilarious. I don't necessarily find him hilarious. Again, his personality just doesn't match as far as entertainment value for me, but I know a lot of people really like his personality, and that's why he has a big following. The one time when I met him in person also didn't really go very well. I don't know if he was tired or that's how it is. Wasn't unfortunately a nice interaction and very quick. So my interaction with Ben, 2 of them that I've had were much nicer than I had with Bjorn. But again, to each its own. Obviously, a lot of people would disagree with me as far as entertainment value. Donald Chester says, "Uh-oh, it will be a change from electric to P for plug-in hybrids." No, it won't. Plug-in hybrids are electric cars. They have electric powertrain, so I think I'm good. Um, Not really sure if I enjoy comments like that. I don't know if we were making a joke or not, but I'm just saying I've gone over this many times, including this um, in this um, in this feed, in this live stream. I can only tell you that perfection is the enemy of the progress. And when, it's kind of an all electric or nothing type of a thing, I think that overall prevents the faster development of all electric cars. So I'm a proud owner of the plug-in hybrid as well as an owner of all electric car. I also think it adds value to my audience because I experience myself both and drive them regularly. So I feel like I know what I'm talking about and I'm talking out of my experience. And I think it's a good thing. Um, let's see. Robert M says electric smart car looks dangerous even if it has a roll cage. I don't really consider it almost a car. Definitely not a smart one. I'm not behind that one at all. I'm sorry. Like not even a little. What will electric car market look like in 5 years? Asks Kelvin. Predicting his stuff, I think Tesla will still be the leader. I think by then the luxury car makers will have a very decent all electric cars. The infrastructure will be definitely up to par in Europe and in the United States, and I believe in China as well. There will be two or three other major players that are startups right now, Byton, Lucid. I mean, I don't think Faraday Future is going to make it, but there are a few others like SF Motors that are still in the pipeline, and a few of them are in China. But I think we're not going to go as far as we did. But there definitely is going to be choices, the infrastructure, and it's definitely going to be very exciting 5 years. If you're into tech and into cars like together, this is going to be great next 5 years. That's for sure. It's already been kind of fun in the last couple of years, I would say. Too much E in your diet, says Nigel. Cut down on the E. Is it this shirt that you're talking about? Or my honey? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Vol got a petrol tank unlike Model S. Yep, Nigel, we talked about that. Hey, Evie Patty, how are you? Shashka Oh, Sashka Shurik. Okay. I should know, I'm Russian. Kona is not available in Canada. It is in pre-order state and already sold out up to the first quarter of 2019. Inclusively, similarly, worldwide, it is really hard to find one in purchase. I don't think they're selling it in the US. I don't think they even had a launch in the US here because I think I'm supposed to be invited, unless that happened without me. But they yeah, I mean, it's good for them, but I hope it indicates the huge demand for the car rather than a poor supply. And again, Hyundai is not known for being behind their electric car and figuring out how to supply them with batteries or supply customers with the car. So I'm a little worried about them when you tell me that. Oh, Evie Patty says I should get my Kona next week or so. I would be interesting if maybe you'll come on the air with me and give me maybe like a live first impression or something like that. Looking forward to that. Definitely let me know. Robert says, Alex, you ever had a range problems or ran out of battery on your Tesla? Never. And I have the 60 kilowatt hour battery with realistically 160, 170 mile range. Never. Because you know how many hours I have to drive per day to even reach that. On top of that, there are superchargers everywhere, and when I take if whenever I did take my car on long trips, their superchargers are there. So no, never even thought about it actually in a long time. Let's see. Just kept catching up. I think I'm catching up pretty good, right? Tony said regarding blind spot monitoring, can't you enable chimes? Yes, you can, and that's a great idea. Yes, chimes can get annoying though, because imagine every time car passes you on the left and on the right, you hear a chime. Not only it's annoying, you will just block it out. So that's a problem with that. The visual indication, I think, is the way to go. Let's see. Renault Renault new EV for India 2019. No, let's hope so. Also, Nigel says actually number of billionaires in India quite high, so lots of poor people like USA, but actually millions of middle class. I mean, I listen. If they had enough people who would be able to afford Teslas, Tesla would already be there. I think one of the problems, one is infrastructure. And I've done a video about this because there are a lot of actually Indian people watching me from India, and everybody just keeps asking. But after I researched this, it looks like the infrastructure is problem number one, but number two is just people. There's not enough people who can afford the car. Um, uh, let's see. He just sipped me after an half an hour of waiting. Caleb Thompson says. What do you mean sipped? I don't get it. I don't get it. If it's a joke, it's just totally went over my head. Sorry. Maybe it's the honey talking, but yeah. Clocks went back by 1 hour in UK Saturday. All right, I think we have that coming up at some point, maybe even this weekend, right, guys? Those who are in the United States, can you confirm that? Um, Mike Silly says in Mexico, we're just starting to see an increase on hybrid and plug-in hybrids, but barely electric cars. Yeah, I was in Mexico in December, so almost a year ago, and I was specifically looking, and I was what in 3 or 4 cities, specifically looking for electric cars, and I don't think I've seen one. Um, Regarding infrastructure, you will find very few charge spots on malls and some public places. Yeah, I haven't seen any, and I did look. Also, Max says Leaf EV 2018 was just released in Mexico a month ago, and people were not happy with the range, 250 kilometers. Why? I mean, it's kind of a car to drive around on a daily basis. It's not a like long distance car. Um, okay, Kurt asks, wondering how is the Volt working? How many miles so far? Any issues yet? Okay, so I gave an update early in this feed, but to answer, I only have a 3,000 miles. Again, I only use it to commute back and forth to Bay Area when I do. I should probably use it a little bit more often, but my Tesla only has what 6 months left on its lease, and if I do decide to go with the e-tron, then I might have to wait for 2 or 3 months in between the cars, and that's where I'll probably start using my Leaf, my Volt a little more. No problems whatsoever. I do have a recall notice though. It's right in front of me here, but it is for. Well, it relates to motor vehicle safety exists in certain models. Yeah, but I haven't done it yet, but yeah, we'll see. Probably shouldn't be flashing this with my address. All right, but I'm easy to find, so I guess it's fine. Wondering how is the vote working? Okay. I like the music, so vote for music. Oh, you're talking about the intro? I like the music too. About swiping left, says Sean, the thing is I want to watch all of your stuff, so that's why so many feel like too many. What is this? Tinder. Yeah, you swipe left like in Tinder. That's kind of, yeah, I know. I just started dating, so I know what you're talking about because I have Tinder and Bumble on my phone. Not that I've been having too much success, but I don't think it's the apps. I think it's very different culture here in Sacramento, so I'm not exactly having a great time. But yeah, if you don't like the notification, you just swipe left. Left. I don't think anything wrong with that. Um, let's see what you were saying. Well, I mean, listen, if you want to watch all of my videos, then you can watch all of my videos. If anything, they're more conveniently spread out throughout the day, so you don't have to just like, boom, watch all at once. Though you can binge watch at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, I guess you can turn off notifications if you want, and then check at the end of the day. But that's the only. Oh, guys, while I have you here, quick question. I would love to start a newsletter for everybody where you like sign up for the newsletter, and it would be like weekly. But I'm wondering because I want to bring value. I don't want to spam with whatever. Like, I want to bring value. So speaking of notifications, right? What value would like to have, from someone like me, from a YouTube channel, electric car YouTube channel, with a weekly newsletters? Let me know. I'm actually curious because I would like to work on that and provide that. Kevin, is this a Canadian, $2 Canadian. Thank you so much. I really appreciate for yet another. This is my third super chat today. Thank you so much. And about swiping left, I think logos, etc. are not necessarily we know what video we are watching. EV Patty, I'm not really sure if I'm connecting your comment to probably something else what we're talking about, but let me move on. Can you make shirts with colors? T-shirts not for me, says Nigel. Okay, so I know you see a bunch of shirts underneath the videos, right? That's from Teespring, and I only uploaded a few just so you know they're available. I don't like Teespring. If you go in the description of my video, any video that I make, there's a description, and it's the link is to a spreadshirt. That's where I have all of my design. I think I have 10 or 12 different designs, including this one. This is brand new. You can find anything: shirts, polo shirts, hoodies, t-shirts, all kinds of stuff. You can buy cups. You know, I've enabled everything for men, for women, for babies. There's tons and tons of different stuff, different colors. So if you go in the description of the video, or you can go into my channel header on my header homepage, and there's a link. I think it's like a green link to the spreadshirt and order there. By the way, I have to order them myself as well because we don't really get any breaks. So I had to buy all of my t-shirts just like you guys would. So so yeah. Let's see. That was awesome. I like the intro as well. It's a great association with the cause and you. I know I kind of like it. Maybe maybe I'll start doing it again. Maybe I start doing it again. I mean, it's only 5 seconds. It's not like it's adding too much to the video. Will you do a 25,000 subscriber video? Ask Donald Chester. You know, I don't really put that much attention on the subscriber count because I like what what I like the most is like more of like how the quality of my audience. Even though we get some trolls and some people who just like to talk crap and stuff like that, and Tesla fanboys and Tesla haters and stuff like that, overall, because of the nature of this channel, because of the content, I think I have like the smartest audience out of all. I mean, no offense to anybody else, but I think because my audience tolerates different opinion, they tolerate different brands and the variety. I think my audience, therefore, is just the smartest audience, even though it's smaller. So I enjoy the quality of the audience rather than the count, a subscriber count. Also, view count. Like I love the fact that like every day I have 20 or 30,000 views on my channel. So that's what I really like. But I might like mention it in that week when I'm gonna hit it. But I don't really necessarily. Is that even a round number to celebrate? I'm wondering. But I'll mention it. But I'm not really sure if I want to celebrate the subscriber count. I think it's irrelevant to a success of a channel. I know channels with a lot, like 100, 200, 300,000 subscribers, and I don't think they're good channels. And I know channels have way less than me, and they're quality channels. So I just don't think subscriber count is the way to estimate the channel's success. I guess I could be wrong. This is just my thought. I just never thought about creating a celebration video. I know people do it, but I just never have. Let's see. My lips are getting chapped. Is it because I've been drinking tea all this time? Elon was set up on the radio show. I don't think so. I think he knew which radio show he was going to, and I think I mean, it does seem like he didn't know there was weed in it. No, I think he did know. Yeah, I don't think he was set up. I mean, he picked that show and he took the blunt, and I don't have problems with people smoking weed or him in particular. I just have a problem with him not understanding what the consequences are. That's the problem. I thought at that point. Sure made, it was great for all kinds of cool pictures and T-shirts that were produced afterwards, but wasn't good for stock or investor trust or assurance at that time, especially. So that's why I thought it was unnecessary. This is the votes of the Australian jury, says Nigel. Kevin says, any YouTubers that you don't like? If it's specific YouTubers? What do you mean don't like? Personally? Yeah, there are a few YouTubers, electric car Tesla YouTubers, were kind of jerks to me. Um, I don't, um, well, first of all, I'm not going to name them because I think personal stuff is personal. Um, and I'm not here to really talk crap about them. I still think that they are electric car YouTubers. We're in the same team. You know, I have a section on my homepage of my channel, right, where you can see all of the YouTubers that came on my show. Um, I've invited everybody. So if they're not on that strip, they essentially said, "No, Alex, I don't want to go on your show." Um, Now, obviously, I'm the one who gives other opinions a platform. I had obviously Eli earlier today disagreeing with me. Now you know Zach and Jesse were on for like an hour. We had few videos together, but the last one that's posted, we've disagreed for an hour, and that was one of my best videos, I think, because of great conversation. I had a U.S. congressman, a sitting U.S. congressman on. I had CEOs of all these companies, Henrik Fisker, Bollinger, Biden. I mean, I had quite a few CEOs on my show, so it would be silly to argue that my channel is not good enough somehow for another YouTuber to be on. I mean, Rich was on my show and he's got like 250,000, 300,000 subscribers or something like that. Um, so you can ask yourselves why those people decided not to come in on my channel, even though I asked them many times. Hey, I invited Fred on my show yesterday, not even a reply to my email or to my tweet. So, but let's leave the personal stuff aside. Again, they can be jerks all they want. I'm not gonna bring it into my professional opinion. But and not comment on my show. That I think that's just a disservice to all of you, the viewers, because some conversations that I could have had with Fred, Ben, and a few other YouTubers, I think would have been great for both of our audiences. Um, and as far as entertainment value is concerned, well, it doesn't really matter. Like, for example, okay, uh, people love Bjorn, right? And they find him funny. It wasn't it Tony or somebody who said it? But for me, it's not my cup of tea. Just like some people like, Seinfeld and some like Friends. Like I love Friends, and I don't really get Seinfeld as much. Not might have. So I don't watch Bjorn as much just because I don't really get his personality, and maybe it's my loss. But I don't like hate him or dislike him, right? I think his contribution is pretty big to this community. All of the testing that he does, and obviously now he has even more access because of these brands are approaching him to do that. I think that's great. Again, wish he would come on my show. I believe he actually banned me from commenting on his channel, and I never comment badly on anyone's channels in this niche at all. So it could have not been my comment. So I think he just never wanted me to participate in his discussion. Again, I think it's a loss for all of you guys as his and my audience. It's unfortunate, but there's nothing I can do about it. And maybe it's up to you to approach those YouTubers if you guys are followers or maybe they're Patreons and maybe encourage them to work with me. But as you know, those who have worked with me, I thought the videos that we came up with, whether on my channel or on their channel, were of quality, right? Zach and Jesse, that was great. Rich Rebuilds, love that. Nikki of Transport Involved, well, we had many videos together. Every time I enjoy, and I think you guys enjoy our interaction. James Cook was on my show. That was great. I had a Lucid Motors segment, the first look on Lucid on like Tesla, with Kim. I think all of those were pretty quality videos. I think I'm forgetting one or two, but I think it was all to the benefit of the community. It's unfortunate that some YouTubers don't find that. And again, maybe you guys feel free to encourage them. And I think when they do come on, they're all welcome. I literally invited Ben once again when I saw him in person at the conference we both ended up at. Probably not going to take me up on that anyway, but my job is to try. So yeah, but personally, I really don't care to share that with you because if people want to be jerks to me in person, that's unfortunate, but that's on them. I'm certainly not going to be, publicizing that. Because in some cases, maybe they were having a bad day. Maybe they had a fight with their wives or girlfriends or whatever, or both. and that that just wasn't their best. And I got an impression that were jokes. Who knows? So I'm gonna stay away from that, and not now, not in the future. Not interested in talking smack about other YouTubers here. I will call them out when I disagree with them on the topics, on a subject. Absolutely, I will do that respectfully, but forcefully so on my channel. All right, let's move on from that. E-tron range and Mercedes range not great. Nigel completely disagree. Anything over $200, 200 miles, I think is good range. E-tron is going to have about 250 or 260. I don't like that Mercedes still haven't figured out what their range is, but it should be at least 200 miles. So anything over 200 miles is okay with me. I don't think anybody can drive more than that in one day, really. IPS is good, just not very efficient. E-tron seems to be one of the best choices currently, says EV Patty. That's my choice for my next car. I keep saying that it's a great car. As far as luxury, better than Tesla, hands down. As far as design, no. Great looking SUV. I just think Tesla is much better looking car. In terms of technology, Tesla is better. But the reason I'm moving is because of I want to be treated better by the brand. And again, this is just me. You guys do you. I'm gonna do what's right for me. I've tried Tesla 3 times now, and this is my conclusion. And e-tron for now is my front runner. It's more than half a year away from possibly being purchased, but that's my opinion. And I don't want to force it on them, that opinion on you guys. I just want to let you know that that's why I've decided to do it, and then you make your own decision. Travis says, I'm waiting for some cheap, good Tesla Panasonic cells for e-bike builds. Oh, interesting. If you do that, definitely keep me updated, because I just heard from somebody, one of my viewers who I just had lunch with here in Sacramento. I think he told me that his buddy is building or already built a bike, electric bike, using, I don't know if there was Tesla cells, but there were some battery cells from a car. That'd be an interesting project to film and maybe feature on the channel. Donovan says, asks, when do you think Tesla will update the Model X and S with the new Model 3 2070 battery cells? God, I would have thought they would have done it by now. I don't know. Sorry, I just like I have nothing else I can add. Eric Wang says, why not put IPV tracker on the Gigafactory's roof? What the hell is IPV tracker? I'm sorry if I'm behind on this one. IPV tracker. I'm sorry. You're going to have to educate me here. Charging of Tesla on AC is important in Ireland, as we have a high percentage of 22 kilowatt AC chargers. Kevin says you have to be pretty foolish to buy a Fisker. Well, Kevin, I really don't like when we make statements like that. Please don't say that. Don't call other people fools because they have other priorities or other choices. I don't think it's foolish to buy an electric car. Period. It's not foolish to buy an electric car. Let's say I am a multimillionaire, okay? And I don't care whether the car is $50,000 or $150,000 or $250,000, okay? I want to buy a car that appeals to me the most. And I have some maybe selfish, even maybe amateur reasons for it, because I want to drive a car that no one else does. And that's okay. I think we've all done that. Or I might say, you know what? I really like the design of this car. And that particular car appeals to me for one certain reason. Maybe a person has a bad back and the particular seats that the Fisker is making is the one that actually is the most comfortable for that person. By the way, we're talking about the new Fisker Emotion, right? We're not talking about the previous Fisker, because that was a while back and there weren't that many choices, and a lot of people bought that car because of its look. And it's got an amazing look. And if that's what they bought it for, and ignore the technology that probably wasn't and turned out to be not that great, then why not? Let them do it. They didn't buy it because it was an electric car. They bought it because it was a really exotic looking and they had the money for it. So I really hope we stop saying stuff like that it's foolish. It's not foolish. if it works for that person, right? You're more than welcome to tell me why you thought it was foolish, and we can talk about it. But I would rather not go with words like that. Um, let's see. Wow, Kevin. Let's see. Those are two edgy questions you ask or statements that you typed in. Not that I don't enjoy them, but I'm just saying you're definitely raising my blood pressure with them. Any news on Dyson, says Ben Penn. I literally just did a news on Dyson. Dyson is now building a factory in Singapore where they already have a factory there. They have 1,100 employees in Singapore, and that's where they're building their, I think they put in what, between $2 and $3 billion into it. And that's where they're building their electric car factory. So that's the latest on that. Good evening, Eric Komar. How are you? I'm glad you made it as well. We're like, oh, wait, 2 hours in? Really? I've been on this for 2 hours. Let me check my text messaging because I think I had some plans tonight. Yeah. Okay, I had plans with myself and to roller skating. I go roller skating because there is no. So I used to play roller hockey for the longest time, but here, when I got here, the only roller hockey arena literally closed a month after I got here, and I'm having a hard time joining ice hockey arenas because I have to learn how to play ice. I know it sounds like it's the same thing, but I'm a goalie, and it's very different. It's almost like learning how to walk again. And there's no league that I'm able to join right now. So what I do is I go and I skate, just roller skate around with a bunch of people, but it's kind of fun. It's got music, it's got lights. I'm trying to make friends, so I met a couple of people that are pretty cool people, and so that's where I'm gonna. But usually you go there and there's like families and kids, and I like to skate fast and hard because I'm a hockey player, and it's really hard to not kill some little tiny kids that like decide that, oh, now they want to go across, and oh crap, I'm skating backwards at 100 miles an hour. So tonight they have an adult night, so it's only adults, and it's much more like settled and usually people who know how to skate, and it's hard to run anybody over. So that's why I wanted to do it tonight, but that's okay. I'm having fun hanging out with you guys. Maybe I should start on this eye drop, cough drop. Let's see. Sorry if I'm going to be talking funny. Oh my God. Let's see. Red Wings with a win. Oh no, Eric! No, Eric! I had it recorded. This is like the second win of the entire year because they suck so bad, and you just deprived me of like celebration. Oh, I recorded the game, right? I started watching. I was like, no, no, no. I scheduled my live stream for 5 o'clock, and I was gonna go. Oh, well, you saved me 2 hours, I guess. But oh man, well, good, good, good. I'll watch the highlights. But man, when I left, they were losing. Okay. Yes, no more plugins. Incentives for plugins in UK. It's unfortunate. I think they could have kept going for another year or so, but they have kept them for all electric cars, right? And only cut it down. Not only, but I still don't like the fact that they cut it down by about £1,000, right? Have I been to Australia? Asks Rob Carr. Rob, I haven't seen you on the channel actually in a while, but I have not. I would love to. I actually was afraid of flying until this year when I realized I'm going to have to fly, and I went to therapy and they fixed me. No, like anti-anxiety pills, no chemistry, nothing. Like I flew to Italy, I flew to UK, I flew to China, I've flown to LA back and forth. Like I've been completely like cured of this, but I would love to go. I only go when I have a brand flying me out somewhere to cover it. The only event that I go on my own dime now is the Bit Summit, which is I just went to in LA for, and that's where I saw Ben. He was a speaker. This is just a YouTuber conference, and I enjoy that, so I went there on my own dime. Let's see. If you're in Ireland, you can come by and drive my Zoe. I would love to. You will be surprised. I won't be surprised because I think it's a good car. I think it's a good car. That's why they sell so well, I believe. Evie Patty says, I can get in touch with you once I have the car. If you're interested, absolutely, please do. First version of Volt was 30,000 pounds. Uh, Ben says, the reporting you do is non-biased and fair. Keep that way. Tesla makes some mistakes, and that does not mean I don't love them. I know exactly. First of all, thank you, but exactly. I report on Tesla, and it is what it is. They're a growing company. They're a public company. They're growing very fast. Of course, they're going to start making mistake. You know, Elon had, I don't know what's going on with him this year. Obviously, it's all the stress that's going on. It's okay. You know, all this negative stuff is okay. I'll report. I will tell you I don't like it. But I'm telling you, if e-tron doesn't pan out, the only other car I'm probably gonna go is yet another Model S. So yeah, absolutely. I just don't understand why people like cannot take criticism of Tesla unless Tesla is like literally their baby. Why? What I mean, what is this tribal mentality that we've been like so into lately? I don't know. Don't get me started. Only 3 likes? What do you mean? This video only has 3 likes? Really? No way. You guys, come on. You can do better than that. Let's see. Tinder messages. All right, let's see. How do I get to my own video? Meanwhile, okay. Meanwhile, can you guys hit the like button? You know, maybe a couple times. Well, don't hit a couple times. That means you'll essentially cancel your thing out. Let's see. E4 Electric is live. That is true. I can confirm that immediately. All right. Where are the likes here? I should learn how to use this app. Where are the likes? 42 likes, 6 dislikes. What did I do, guys? Oh, now 43 with me. How can you not like this? We're just hanging out here. All right, fine. Evie Perry says, usually I'm up to date with the news, so I don't need a newsletter probably, but hey, it doesn't hurt either. Well, the newsletter doesn't have to be news because that's what I deliver anyway. Could it be another service or sort of, I don't know, a collage of things that are happening in YouTube channel, or maybe like, well, I know I'm not going to do this, but like one of the ideas was like a green or eco-friendly product of the week or something like that, right? Something like that. Uh, Celeb Thompson says he keeps skipping me. Where did I skip you? And by the way, see, I just read your comment and it could have been something you were asking. I don't see where I skipped you. Oh, yeah, I see. When do you think Tesla going to come up with a Tesla truck? I'm assuming you mean the semi truck. Um, when you say come up, what does that mean? A drawing, a prototype, launch, or like in production? I think I mentioned it in my Model Y video, is that I think if they will keep the Model Y unveiling until March, I have a feeling they might move it up because it looks like, you know, Elon said that he approved the final design for the prototype, for the alpha prototype. So they might move it up a little bit. And obviously that will help with the stock probably and a lot of other things. But um, if they keep it in March, I have a feeling because they obviously want to outdo themselves and it's going to be really hard after the last one. Um, they might just go ahead and will one out. They'll announce a Model Y, and then the pickup truck probably not going to pop out of the back of the Model Y, but I think that's where they might actually present either a picture or an actual like non-functioning prototype. Who knows? But it looks like, and Elon mentioned it a few times, that it's his like pet project now. So I assume that's going to start moving relatively fast. But my guess, I don't know. Uh, Daylight savings time was last night, Alex. Are you serious? No, you not in the United States, is it? Am I literally just like went through a it's 7:21 right now. I don't have my mechanical watch. I don't feel like I lost an hour. Or wait a second. So if we fall backwards, right? That would be crazy. I've never done that before, but I guess all of my clocks are electric. Is that why? Wait, I'm gonna go to my bedroom right now. Give me 10 seconds and see if I'm crazy. Hold on a second. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Okay, my clock that doesn't change itself does say 7:21. Okay, Alex says no, it will be next week. Okay. All right. Thank God. I'm not crazy. That's good. I had suspicions, and some of you too probably, but I'm not crazy. Um, all right. So I have not skipped collab. By the way, if you type at E4 Electric, that gets highlighted. Just so you know, if you're asking me a question, that helps. Um, Ben says he was late, but I announced this show yesterday. And you can kind of subscribe to a reminder. So I'm gonna try to do it every Sunday, and I'm definitely gonna try to do it around the same time. But I don't know. Uh, yep. Let's see. Armor Gar says, Alex, your thoughts about a lease on Model 3 in a few months? I don't think they're gonna do it in a few months. I think they're gonna literally. Well, I don't know. I don't want to speak for themselves, but for them, but I don't think it's coming anytime soon. I think they want to make sure that they get every single dime out there on their balance sheet, and and I know Lisa slow that down. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, unfortunately. Let's see. Amazon again 35. Stop skipping celeb. I caught up with that. Yep, Tony suggested exactly what I suggested. Do you think Eric Commerce says Eric Comer? Do you think the legacy automakers, B3 Volkswagen, will install fast chargers at their dealerships in the future? Okay, so Porsche said that they will, but I'm not really sure if dealerships are necessarily in the right spots for destination or travel chargers, right? Those really need to be on off of main highways and at the areas that are safe and have like bathrooms and restaurants and maybe shopping centers and stuff like that. So, and dealerships are not always in those locations. So, in some cases, yes, in some cases, no. Um, Also, I don't think the industry figured out what they want to do with the dealerships, right? Because obviously, dealers make a lot of money on servicing cars, gas cars, and this is something that's going to be going away. Uh, when you have electric cars. As a matter of fact, Audi, and I don't like this, but Audi announced that they're not going to have their e-tron in their dealerships at all. It would be kind of a same, you'll just have to order it on the internet. I've been very critical of that. And I guess it's one of the reasons is because the dealers don't want it in there. Why would they want to be forced to sell a car that essentially will lose the money? It makes sense, right? So I think the industry will need to figure out whether they want to stick with the dealership model, and if so, they're going to have to figure out how to incentivize the dealers and have them not lose all this money on servicing cars, or they might just have to go direct sales like Tesla. I don't know. I don't know if they even know. Um, let's see. Kevin says, have you heard much about Volvo's move into EVs? Not only I've heard about it, I just reported it from the Motor Car Week. The Polestar, a company owned by Volvo, just unveiled their Polestar 1. It's a plug-in hybrid, but it's the first of the three cars that they're producing in the next couple of years. The other ones are going to be fully electric. Check that video out in my video library. Nigel says, I'm going to ask Elon to go on your show. Please do. I'm sure he will be very receptive to that. Kevin says, yeah, to be honest with you, the only thing I've ever impressed with your channel is the quality of interviewees that you've had, CEOs, government officials, and so forth. But I also had like regular people, regular owners on my channel, and I thought I made that interesting as well because actually it's a challenge talking to the executives, right? They try to stick to the talking points. It's hard to get information out of them. But when you talk to like regular people, like when I do with our events, like what was the last one I did was Drive Electric week, right? And I did one from Davis, California. Like that was fun too, right? I like that. Um, let's see. I thought Ben and you had similar thoughts on Elon. Both aren't no big fans of self-driving things. I don't know what that means, but I don't think me and Ben are on the same page as far as Elon is concerned. I think Ben is pretty much a Tesla fanboy, and I think he's a proud one. Like, I think he said it on his channel a couple times that, hey, I love Tesla, and my channel is all about how awesome Tesla is. And I'm not really going to address that many yeah, issues. He did have a video where even he was critical of Elon and the pedophile comments that he made during the summer. So that was good. At least we know where the line is. But yeah, I don't think me and Ben see eye to eye, and that's why it would be so awesome to have him on my show, right? Because I think and he's a smart guy, right? So talking to somebody who disagrees with me in the same team, but disagrees with me in some particular things, but also is a very smart guy, I think that would be awesome. Probably not going to happen, but still awesome. Um, let's see. Ben says we're here to see you. Who cares about the other guys? Well, I appreciate it, but I think having other people on my show makes it more interesting. It gives you guys more value because there are other people with other opinions who are either different from mine or just have something more to say and more to add. And I think that's valuable. And I like having other people on my channel. Like, I love having discussions and conversations and dialogue. So I like it. I wish I could do more of it. Alex is asking your thoughts on European Union Article 13. Will it kill YouTube? Alex, I don't know what that is. You're going to have to educate me. Article 13. That would suck if it will kill YouTube. By the way, guys, I'm actually now going to be posting more and more stuff on Instagram, like the behind the scenes stuff. I'm going to be making them into stories. Since this old man just learned how easy it is to do it. Didn't really understand stories in general. I still don't like the format and the whole vertical thing, but I'm doing it now. So if you guys want to follow me, E4Electric is my handle everywhere and all social media. So yeah, follow me there. And you know what? I should make a slide about it. Instagram slide. And I'll put it here. So it's one of the slides here. Yeah, and I'm trying to post a lot of like behind the scenes pictures and videos and stuff like that. Just posted one now before going live with you guys. Let's see. Okay, well, yes, EV Patty says, I think 3D view of Audi in the e-tron, the one that I mentioned, the one that Bjorn demonstrated, is better than anything Tesla has to offer. As far as what do you want, parking assist? Yeah, I think it's better than anybody has to offer. But yeah, Tesla is behind on that one. Absolutely agree. Of course, the whole thing about getting a free upgrades thing is good. I agree. By the way, I haven't even gotten my version 9 upgrade, and I know it's not going to include some of the features because I have a 1.0 version of autopilot. But damn, there's like second and third version of that now, or iteration and update, and I haven't even gotten version 9. Though the response was not very good, so I'm not really looking forward to it, but I'd still like to have it. Let's see. Fools are for hydrogen buyers. Yeah, so I mean, I just asked not to use the word fool, but it is probably a losing proposition to push for hydrogen fuel cell cars, simply because of how the technology works and you can't really do it at home. So, and there's not much infrastructure at all right now, at least here in the United States, barely some in California. So I don't support that technology. Not because I don't like the technology. I just don't like it for cars, the everyday cars. Okay, yeah, next week about the switch to the daylight savings time. I received my Stay Charged E4 electric shirt on Friday, says Michael Danbury. Thank you so much for ordering. You know, when you order my merchandise, you still help me. I get a little bit of percentage of those sales. So thank you for supporting the show. It's like being a Patreon. Perfect timing. Or donating through super chats, super chat here on during the live streams, like three of you did today, three or four. Again, thank you for those. Um, Looking forward to wearing it. Spreadshirt shipped real quick. Yeah, no, those guys do a really good job in shipping the spreadshirt. Again, every video that I have is has a link to it. It also has a link to Tesla referral code, by the way. People have been asking me, I'm like, it's in all videos all along if you guys want to use it. You know what's funny? Ever since I made a video about how Tesla salesperson kind of stole my sale, the referral code, didn't phrase the title of the video very well. All of a sudden, I'm starting to get some sales. And I'm actually up to 24% off. I'm just checking it right now off of the Roadster. I don't think I'm ever going to get to 100 anyway, but I'm just saying I was like stuck at 2%, 4%, 24%. Look at that. 24%. Now, anyway. So, yeah, interesting, right? I don't even know if I have 100% off. Like, you still have to pay so much in taxes. I'm not really sure if it's worth it, but it's almost like a game for me, but weird. Yeah, but my shirts, I love them. The quality is good. Here's another one. This is my favorite one. Never forget. But I have like 6 or 7 design. My favorite one, it says, my car needs a lawyer. It's been charged with battery. That was kind of funny. And a few other ones. Europe goes on daylight savings time a week earlier than United States. Great. We're in sync again, huh? My meetings, I might have a couple of meetings with somebody in Europe next week. I better budget for that. Evie Patty, have a great night. Thank you for sticking around. I never meant to go. I thought I would go live for 1 hour, but I gotta go soon to just because I want to go and do some roller skating. Anyway, thank you for sticking around. Ghost El Fantasma says, I had to postpone delivery because I'm out of the country. He's ordering performance Model 3 dual. Well, you don't have to say D because I think they're all dual now. Be back next week. Well, guess what? You're $5,000 richer now. How long does it take to rematch to a new VIN? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. What's new with the election, says Jonathan Bratt. It's only, well, I just mailed out my ballot, but nothing's new. Actually, we had a pretty horrible week here in the United States. We had a shooting, I think, this today at a synagogue, and then we had all this guy mailing like this bombs, I think, to a bunch of politicians, and I think CNN, and I don't know if there are other news channels that got that. So we had a tough week here. Obviously, the shooting was absolutely horrific. You know, God, I hope it's not. I hope we turn around one day. But yeah, but the election is, you know, it's not presidential election. It's for Congress, but the Congress right now is of the same party as our president. So if it turns, at least it has 2 houses, so even one house ends up in the hands of a different party, it will make the governing party, it will make it much harder. And for example, if Republicans decide that they want to repeal the $7,500 tax credit all of a sudden, and there is a bill like that, the Democrats, if they're in power in one of the houses, will be able to block that. So if you're an electric car fan, you probably want that. Again, I don't want to go into politics, but I'm just saying how it works, just so you understand on a bigger scale. Dennis Clark says, what are your concerns about the either buying or not buying an e-tron? Well, I want to make sure that Audi is still behind the car. Like, the move of not offering them at the dealerships is a big problem for me. It's not a deal breaker, But if they do a few other things like that, where they produce an electric car not behind them, I'm gonna back out of it. So that it's not the car. I'm sold on the car. Okay, I've seen it in person. I'm probably gonna drive it pretty soon. I'm sold on the car. I I need to make sure that if I buy this car, I'm buying it from a manufacturer that is really, really, really serious about it. So that would be the only showstopper is how they handle this whole electrification of their own fleet. Um, Jonathan Brad says Musk said $35,000 version will be within 4 to 6 months from last week. Um, they said it 2 months ago, just FYI. So it kind of keeps moving. And he also said that they're not going to be able to make it profitable until 6 months. Did I say weeks? Months? 4 to 6 months. He said 6 months. So I'm assuming he's actually committing to more like 6, and it's from now. But I'm just saying they were saying that for a couple of months now, so it keeps moving. Not that it's a surprise to anybody. Uh, Eric says the big three and Volkswagen already have locations all over the country, and to me it seems easy to have a network if they add fast chargers each dealerships for travel. But I understand what you mean. Yeah, they have to be in the right locations. Uh, Your channel is the best electric channel, says Silver GT. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Um, I'm doing my best, and I'm so excited that I'm doing this full time, guys. And I know I had to sacrifice a lot in my life. You guys have no idea. Um, like I'm here, this new place. I don't know anybody. I'm starting everything over. I have to look for new doctors, new hairstylists, new places to eat. I never really kind of lived on my own. So I'm learning how to cook, how to wash my own car, because I really, the money that my channel is providing for me is like barely enough to like I can't afford going out to nice restaurants anymore. I'm washing my own car, and I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I've changed my life greatly so I can do this full time because of comments like that, actually. Because I see more and more people not only subscribing but telling me how much value I bring either into their lives or maybe into their decision to save some money or move towards the buying an electric car and so forth. So I really do appreciate it. Kevin, you just sent me another $2 Canadian dollars. Thank you so much. That makes it 4. I really appreciate it. Uh, um, no comment, so I'm just gonna say thank you. Um, Jonathan Brad says Ben won 2 roadsters. I think you talking about Ben Solons. Um, okay, yeah. I don't know if he's gonna get 2, unless he talked to Tesla and they said yes, and Tesla had made a lot of exceptions, I think, for him, generally speaking, whether it was rebroadcasting their earnings call all over YouTube Live, which I know if I would have done it, there would have been major violation, or collecting personal information in exchange for the code. I think if I would have done it, I would have been disqualified. But whatever, it is what it is. Because again, they might have made an exception for him, but from what I understand, the rules is that for every sale at some point you get 2% off. So if you get 100% off, you get a free roadster, and then you have to pay taxes. So, but if you get 200% off, I think that just means that you still get 1 free roadster. I don't think it keeps rolling over. I mean, that's my understanding. Again, if they made an exception, that's great. I don't know what he's going to do with 2. Probably will raffle it off, right? But again, that's not really much of my concern. Ben's Roadsters, I'm glad that it's bringing a lot of attention to the electric car YouTubers in general, and the whole excitement around the technology. But again, I don't think it's gonna. I mean, but I don't care. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And I think there are quite a few other YouTubers and Fred from Electric that are getting their roadsters, and I'm assuming at some point some will end up with 2 as well. I don't think I'll end up with 1, but that's okay. I think I'm okay with that. Uh, Another comment about Ben, Michael. Does does anyone know when Tesla does their model year changeover for production cars from 2018 um, Model Y cars, my cars to 2000? That's the thing. They don't. They basically, if the car is made in a certain year, that's what it's going to be. So it was made on December 31st. It's going to be 2018 model. It was made on January 1st. It will be 2019 model. So they don't do it like other brands where like there's a set of features or a body style that's good for 12 months. They just kind of roll with it, and I think that's where some of the frustration comes from. Though at the same time, they're able to innovate much faster and change things around much faster. Um, Ronan says batteries are better for cars, but hydrogen makes more sense for planes and such since it's lightweight instead of the heavy batteries. Even for semi trucks, Nikola Motors may have something gambling on the hydrogen fuel cell technology because it is different for the like industrial use, right? No one needs to charge at home. As a matter of fact, they can whatever they install at the distribution centers or airports or ports. That's all that matters. So yes, and you're right, it is lighter, so therefore it actually might be more beneficial. So yes, I stand corrected for that particular exception. Um, Eric, I will see you later. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Kevin asks, what level of percentage off would you buy the Roadster? I'm not really okay. Uh, so a couple of things. Oh, I'm going to mention it like an hour ago, but here's the thing about the Roadster or P100D. When I drove P100D, and even though when I floored it is going to be amazingly ridiculous acceleration, I still got nauseous and ended up with a headache for the rest of the day. Um, so I don't want to have that fast of the car. I have a 60 or regular 60, which is like, I don't know, 5 or 6 seconds, 0 to 60. And it's more than plenty. Anything more than that is literally a physical strain, and I don't care for it. If I ever have to like beat somebody off the light so I can make a turn or whatever, if I'm late on making a turn, I don't remember having a problem doing that. I don't race, but yeah, I just don't care for anything that fast. I like four-door sedans, so two-door sports car is just not my thing. Um, and so don't forget, it's 250,000 car. If I win it or whatever, do 100% off, I still have to pay about half of it is on taxes, because you have to pay what probably 35 or 40% tax, income tax on that. So that will end up with about 110. And then what happens is your total income, because that will be considered your income. Again, I'm not a tax consultant, but that's what I believe is what they'll add it to your full income for the year, and you're gonna have to owe more money for the income that you already made just as your salary or investments and stuff like that. No, I think investments are included, but definitely your salary. So you might actually owning another 10 or 20 or 30,000 extra dollars for whatever you made outside of the Roadster. So you might end up with $140,000 in actual taxes. Or even if it's 100,000, and this is not something you can finance with a credit union. This is something you have to kind of pay up pretty much. So I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, if I have 50% off and somebody wants to buy it off of me, maybe that will make sense for me financially to do it. And still end up having to pay double tax, sales tax. Um, Maybe. Or I don't know if I will be one of the first ones getting it and I can make some money back by renting it out on Turo, maybe. I haven't thought about it. I got to tell you, this whole thing just happened the last month. All of a sudden, I see it's like, whoa, it's really happening. So I don't know. Good question. I will think about it, but I don't know. I guess 50 would be it, right? Um, let's see. Good question. I wonder if you have enough credits for a free Model 3. Maybe you are close, so next year you can get one. That would be cheaper than an e-tron. Well, I would like for them to convert those percentage off of the Roadster to maybe something else. Because, yeah, maybe I can get a Model 3 or even another Model S. That'll be kind of cool. Tony said Ben has stated that he's confirmed with the Tesla on two different occasions that he's getting two Tesla Roadsters. Well, that means they're bending the rules, either for him or for everybody. But to me, mathematically, that doesn't make sense. But who cares? He's getting two Roadsters. He's getting two Roadsters. That's going to be more publicity for everybody, so it's a good thing. Um, Ghost Al Fantasma says maybe Tesla should give free full self-driving to early adopters for that $5,000 issue. Well, that's what they oh, you know what? At this point, I think they should just issue $5,000 refunds and that's it. Like just correct the mistake and let's not bargain. I think that's a great solution, and I think that we should leave it at that. So, yeah. Kurt Gustafson says, wondering, does any manufacturer yet offer a production EV car wash? Oh, I'm sorry. Production EV car which is available with standard manual transmission. I would prefer that. No, I don't think so. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe very like exotic ones or converted ones. I know there's a company called Genovation GXC. They convert and very nicely so. They convert Corvettes. And I did an interview with their CEO, and it's on my channel with a full report. So I don't know if that one has. I think that one might have a shifter. Check it out, Genovation GXC. I'm pretty sure it's going to be really easy to find out. Really, really nicely done. Sinasibab Dreknot says, Alex, how do you manage extra income besides YouTube or Patreon? I don't manage because there's not much of it. The income comes from super chats and Patreon, the Google ads that you see, like the pre-roll that you see in the beginning of the videos, then some of the sponsorships, and sometimes I do speaking engagements or panel moderations, which I've done recently. Sometimes you get paid for that. And sometimes when brands fly you out, they will pay you a journalist fee just because it's your time away from home and stuff like that. All of it is small amounts, but overall it adds up to, something. Obviously, I'm looking to hopefully get sponsored by a brand, like in a bigger deal sometime maybe next year that will give me a more stable income and more of a real salary rather than right now. I'm just kind of like, minimum wage as far as just being able to live here in Sacramento. But that's okay. I'm not in a rush. I mean, I knew going into it, I will have to maybe utilize some of my savings, and that's fine. But that's basically how me and pretty much a lot of YouTubers make money on YouTube. Let's see. Kevin says, wow, it's a lot different in the United States versus Canada. For us, it wouldn't be taxed like an income. Again, I could be wrong on this one. And because this is such a different proposition and a deal that I don't think other manufacturers or other companies have actually offered before. So I'm not really sure if the tax consultants even know how to handle something like this, right? Because I can also argue, like, listen, when I go and I buy a car at a dealership and end up getting, I don't know, $10,000 off in different ways, they don't tax me at the rate of that I got an extra $5,000 as an income because it was a discount, right? So I can kind of argue that there should be no income paid on a income tax on the Roadster. So, but do you want to screw with the IRS? I don't, and I don't know. You know what? This question really you might want to ask Ben because I'm not concerned with that at all right now. When I cross maybe 50, if I will, and I don't know how much time even is left on this program, then I might be concerned about that. But for now, you should probably ask Ben or Fred or other people who probably already know the answer because they do have this free Roadster in their account now. Kevin asks, are you going to pursue getting work in your career field again? Well, I was a UX designer and a graphics designer for 20 years. I believe some of the skills that I'm using here with graphics and stuff like that, I am using it. My college degree is in radio, television, and film, which is kind of more for suited for this. But no, I would, if I can make it, if I can continue, making videos that are of value, and I can continue getting contributions and hopefully sponsorships, I would definitely like to continue doing this. In the future, I know some YouTubers also do consulting for brands, where or for companies where they help them with social media. So, for example, I actually just had my first gig where I consulted somebody on how to start a YouTube channel and got paid for that a little bit, but still. So that's something else. Speaking fees is actually could be quite big as well if I started doing a little bit more and more of that. But I've only had what 2 gigs, 3 gigs actually. Well, 5 gigs if it's okay, 5 total for the speaking slash moderator. But I expect that to continue and maybe ramp up a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, all of that. I'm looking forward to all of this. I wouldn't mind actually consulting because I feel it's very rewarding if you help somebody else to be successful with their YouTube channel and their social media. So yeah, I would enjoy that. But no, I'm not going back to being a designer. I think Silicon Valley has turned from an amazing, innovative industry where you just love getting up and going to work to a really crappy industry that doesn't innovate anymore. The offices all look like sweatshops, except for there's like iMacs or whatever notebook, Mac Pro books on their desks instead of the, sewing machines. Like literally, it's no privacy. You're just sitting, behind these long desks, and it's just turned into really real crap. And the new generation of management and people with like lack of social and even like courtesy skills has been absolutely devastating to me. I'll give you an example. In my last company, Fortune 100 company, I had somebody who moved into the office next to mine. Never came over, introduced himself, never said hi, and I worked there for like 2 years after that, and we never even had a word, and we worked next to each other. Um, by then my spirit was so ruined. I was like, I don't even want to bother with this guy, if he doesn't want to say anything, that's fine. I have my friends, and I'm just going to hang out with them. But I've been really disappointed with the industry. I hope I don't have to go back. Not going to lie, I hated my last job, and I'm so liberated not only doing this full time but not doing that full time. It feels just as good. um let's see. Nice beard. Oh, thank you. I just trimmed it. Yeah, and I kind of like the little gray hair spots growing out there, Jay Leno style. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up pretty soon. Thank you for the sacrifice you made to give us a good information, says David Campbell, on Tesla and other EV ventures. You're very much appreciated, Alex. Thank you, David. And this is actually one of the a fuel, just like I said, um, that I've always used. I'm always humbled by the fact that you guys are actually finding my stuff useful. Maybe it's not always useful. Maybe it's not always of the best quality. But the fact that people are finding this useful and taking their time, which I know is valuable, you guys obviously could have done something else with your time, spending it with me, and some of you actually directly donating money to my channel, to my Patreon and the super chats. I really just like, I can't really even put into words um, how surreal it feels for me. And it definitely makes me want to get up every morning and work that much harder. I told you guys I was going to do 3 videos a day, Monday through Friday, and I'm going to take it easy on the weekends, right? And what happened? I made 3 extra videos this weekend, and I went live for 1 hour, which is now almost 3 hours, right? So that's how much I really appreciate it. How much I want to give back to you as much as I can. So I really, really appreciate the kind words. They mean more to me than you guys actually think. Um, Kevin says, you seem like a good dude. Good luck with everything. Glad to see you have a lot of options going forward. I hope so. I hope I'm a good dude, but as long as I have quality, some people may not think that, right? Ben may not think that, but my mom does sometimes. So I appreciate that. Tony says these are interesting questions regarding tax treatments, but one should really speak with a tax advisor or tax attorney regarding them. Yes, absolutely. And I keep saying that I'm not a tax consultant. This is just my understanding of it. Tony says Ben has mentioned that he's spoken with his. All right, well, just like I said, I would default to whatever Ben has found out because he obviously is in the middle of it, and he, I'm sure, has done his research, and he's a smart guy. So I'm sure whatever his final conclusion about that is the way it is, at least here in California. I think he's in San Diego or somewhere in Southern California. So, any news on lithium mine that Elon Musk referred to? Well, I think they've secured some locations, and I think other companies like BMW and I think LG Chem, they've all kind of decided that it's important to secure some of the mines where they mine all of those chemicals that go into the lithium-ion batteries. It's not just lithium; it's also cobalt, I believe. But no news since then. I don't believe so. Um, James Paul says maybe your coworker neighbor was just shy or had a crush on you, Alex. No, it was a dude, and he was not shy. And I kind of observed how he dealt with other people. He says I could overhear his conversation, and I felt like he was one of many, many other people that I've observed there in the industry that just come to work. They want to have nothing to do with anything. They're not very respectful to their coworkers. I don't think they even understand that this is your kind of second family, whether you like it or not, and not coming over to introduce yourself or even saying hi once in a while, just so weird. And he's not the only one. I just gave you like the most blunt example. That just happens all the time. um, Thanks for the info. Just keep what you love doing. Some Tesla fans irritate when you mention some of the Tesla criticism. I think Tesla was kind of a baby or sort of okay. Some broken English, but I think I understand and I agree. I think people who unsubscribe from my channel because they can't stand hearing the criticism of Tesla or Elon Musk, they're not my audience. They're not my audience, and that's fine. There are other YouTube channels for them. But I think those people who just want to know what's going on, I want some educated opinion. At this point, I think that's what I have, an educated opinion about things and some analysis just based on my experience. I think that's what people come here for. Not so much kissing Elon's ass. Sorry, I don't do that much of that. Kurt says, I agree with David. Thanks, Alex. I think you should apply for the new chairman job at Tesla. No way in hell I'm having that job and having to work with Elon every day, or maybe every other day. The guy's a genius, but I've heard things, and I'm sure you guys don't even have to really hear them. No, that is a tough dude to work for, and obviously, I don't think I can be on the. Well, I guess I could be, but I'm just saying I want to make sure that I'm doing anything that can jeopardize either my channel or my credibility or whatever brand it is that I'm working with because of that relationship. But this is never going to happen. Yeah. So I can apply though. Maybe I should just for fun of it. All right, guys, this has been literally 3 hours now, and I was really going to keep it at a 1 hour. I'm glad my voice held up. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. This has been fun. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for support on Patreon. While we were talking, one of you actually joined Patreon. I just saw it on my phone. Every time a Patreon joins, I always do a quick shout out to my Patreon and to the new Patreon or Patreons that they join at that particular time. And I do it like this, and this is the last one, Sean. And I hope, and just because I want to show appreciation to those who join my channel. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Obviously, I will see you tomorrow, live on Patreon or uploaded on YouTube. Other than that, of course, remember to stay charged.